There's just a lot of corruption and stuff that you can touch upon and try to bring awareness to just through music if you can say it in a way that people are going to want to listen to it and not just be like, this motherfucker is just preaching like crazy.
Music, it's a strange thing, man. It's like you open up that avenue for somebody who normally they wouldn't get your point, but they don't care because they're just vibing with the song. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Ruse Radio episode 41. We are here with another very special guest. Special guest, who are you?
My name is Allie.
Allie. Who is Allie?
Who am I? I'm just, I'm a rapper out of Michigan, I guess. Just laying shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I describe myself or something like that. I don't know. I try to do a little bit of everything, I guess,
Well, what genre would you consider your music to be if you had to describe your music?
Shit, probably like vaporwave, boom bap, I guess. I don't know. Somebody told me that the last shit that me and JD did, like Gemstone 4 Relic Seeker, they were like, this sounds like vaporwave MF Doom. I don't know. I don't personally hear it that way, but like it's hard to qualify my own shit, I feel.
When you're making music, are you like trying to go for a certain type of sound?
I don't know. Usually if I hear like an instrumental, I just kind of get an idea for something and it just kind of rolls out. And then like as I record it, I'm like, if this sounds a certain way, I guess that's how it's meant to sound. You know what I mean? I feel like when I put it out, it's just coming out how I need it to be.
Okay. And is there ever like has there ever been a time where a song didn't come out the way you needed it to be?
Yeah, I've deleted a lot of stuff, or like had demos and shit that I've made for, like 2 or 3 years, and then I'll go back to them and be like, I really like, a little bit of this, but I don't like, the rest of it at all, and I'll just scrap most of it and, try to restart it.
See, for me, it's always been hard to delete things. Like, I'm so bad at deleting songs. Are we talking like you're deleting the whole song?
I would probably, if it was like old vocal takes, yeah, probably, just because I want it to sound like current with like how I am now, you know what I mean? I feel like each song is like, that's like a snapshot in time for like when you make it and stuff. So if I'm using shit that's like, years old, it's not going to be as authentic as if I would have just done it right now.
Okay, that makes sense. So we're not talking like you're not deleting it, you're just refining it.
Yeah, like taking the ideas from it and shit, and like if I can say stuff better now than I used to be able to. Okay. I feel like I have a better grasp on like how I want to portray ideas to people.
Because I've been thinking about doing that with my older material too. I have a lot of older songs where it's like they're good and they're still good, and I know they're good, but it's like when I look back at how I was doing things then, I know like those thoughts could have been represented way better. Like if I remade those songs now, I could do it so much better. That's the kind of thing we're talking about.
I usually like don't do it with stuff that I put out. Sometimes there's a lot of stuff I've put out that I just don't listen to anymore because I feel like it sounds weird to me. Like I'll hear something, I'm like, oh my God. That's a little weird how I said that, but like I use a lot of like the same thematic concepts. I feel like, just because that's what my life is, I like face, the same kind of shit, day to day. So it just comes up more in the subject matter, but I feel like there's, I can get better at how I want to say stuff or how I want to, get stuff across to people than I used to be.
Yeah. Okay. And talk about how you used to be. I wanted to ask you. And then we had per usual, I had a long conversation with my guest before the podcast here. So we had a good 45 minutes of podcast talk is what it was. But I never asked you about your rap origins. So let's get into that. Let's learn about that. Were you like always interested in music, or how did you begin to get involved with it?
I feel like my first introduction to rap probably would have had to been like Linkin Park and POD and like just new metal stuff, because my dad would play that shit at home, So I'd be hearing that and people, rapping over metal and stuff. I was like, this is crazy. And like as I got older, I eventually just got more into rap. I remember the first like actual rap CD I got was on Blueprint 3, and I was like, this is fucking unreal, you know what I mean? Like it like opened my eyes to shit. And then Odd Future got huge like right after that came out.
I would consider them to be like a good mixture. Like they're not just rap.
Yeah, exactly. So they're another thing that was like just blending all these genres, and I'm like seeing this, I'm like, you know, I could probably do some shit like this. So me and my friends just started making songs, you know, and a lot of them were like kind of jokey at first because it's like we don't really have anything to talk about. We're like fucking 14, you know what I mean? Like, didn't really do a whole lot. We were just trying to make stuff that was like kind of like funny, but like also had like good writing and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Is this Squid Squad we're talking about?
This would be Squid Squad. Yeah,
Right.
So that's when we got started and shit. And like I don't know, it just as you know, as we got older and stuff, we like moved. So we're not living right by each other, so it's harder to just work on stuff in person. And we're not really the kind of people that like sending stuff back and forth all the time. You know what I mean? Just because it's like I feel like there's a better creative spark if you're working on stuff in real life, like with people, like in person.
Oh, for sure.
So
well, to add to that, shout out Wheat. He was telling me that with rappers, when he's making a beat, he likes to have them there when he makes the beat so they can like catch that vibe. And he was telling me like that's the best way for him to make a beat for a rapper. Like he'd much rather do that than have them describe to him in a message. And I just found that to be like fascinating coming from a producer, because you'd expect that with like writing together, but you'd never really think like a producer would have that like I want to vibe with you. It's kind of like those Kenny Beats videos where he brings people in the cave and they do that. It's the same kind of deal. Like you being in person's a whole different thing than being separate. So I can see how Squid Squad would be a little bit we're not dead. It's like a dormant thing.
it's almost like hiatus and stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
we still like we will make stuff like sending it back and forth, but it's not as like you know frequent as when we like I could just like drive over and be like, yo, like let's make something right now. You know what I mean?
If only.
Yeah.
Do you miss Squid Squad?
I mean, yeah, I keep in contact with him though. You know what I mean? I still see him like regularly. Jack moved down to Florida. He's doing his thing down there. He's got an album coming out this month that like it got leaked by him on accident. And I heard it and
He
I was
leaked
like,
his own album?
I was like, this is crazy. And he's like, I didn't mean to put it up that early, so he took it down. And it's coming out later this month. But I was like listening to him, like, man, this is unreal. And like, yeah, Nathan, he still DJs for me at shows and stuff. He just doesn't, you know, record as much anymore. So it's like he's not working on that as much right now in his life. He's got kind of like his own little businesses and shit.
Okay. So you and him continued the solo careers, but you said Nathan's out there on his own.
Yeah, Jack is in Florida. Nathan is over like on the west side of the state. And he's still like making music. He's produced some shit for me and stuff, but he's just not as much like in the, you know, spot like trying to keep up on it as much, I feel.
But he's producing.
Yeah.
So we're all still even kind of collaborating.
Yeah, we're still working on stuff. You know, we always talk about like we're gonna make another album this year and stuff, but it's like the process of getting that many songs together that would like constitute an album that we're all like, you know, this whole thing is insane. You know what I mean? Like, we can't really be like having stuff that has little slip ups on it, I feel.
Y'all are gonna be like Tool and take like 15 years for the next Squid Squad album.
That'd be crazy, man. You know what I mean? Just like a.
And you'll say the same thing too. You'll be like, "Well, we just wanted to get our vision right."
Yeah, man. I mean, well, like when you know, like what Guns N' Roses took like 20 some years on like Chinese democracy. Like sometimes people are just like, I can't do it until it's fucking perfect. But
I don't blame them. Yeah, especially when it's like when you're someone like that with a legacy, like even Squid Squad. Like there's a certain legacy to uphold. Like we have a certain caliber of quality that we achieve.
And it's like if you have something that you already think is so good, you don't ever want to just be like, I can make something that good. You want to be like, I can make something way better than that. You know what I mean? And like push yourself. And like if something isn't better than that, or like, you know, has the potential and stuff, but you feel like you gotta wait on it. You know, like some kind of shit like earlier. You can come back to it and like work on it. You know, the idea never really has to die. You can always like keep it and like keep refining it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's I think that there's something rewarding in that too, to like go back to those ideas and see them matured in that way almost. Like it's really it's an interesting thing, like watching artists change throughout the years. Like it's you don't expect it to happen, and then it does. Like if you're a fan of an artist, it's a weird thing to see music change, because music is you know, when somebody's like because like Chance, I guess Chance really resonated with me at a certain point, and then Chance went in that like a different direction. But like around that acid rap time, like even like there's just certain periods of artists that resonate with me more. Like Tyler the Creator's had some periods that definitely resonate more than other ones. He's always good. But like Eminem, he's great at times, and other times he's just so cheesy, and it's like, what's going on here? Because he's so good, but he's also like all over the place. So it's real fun to see artists change throughout time. But But I don't want to get too off the rails here. We're still talking about you, and I want to know, how did we get the rap name that you have? How does that happen?
I went to Career Center when I was in high school, and they had like a new media program, which was like, like editing videos, working on like audio, stuff like that. And there was a girl there that every time I would see her, she would just call me Alley Cat. And I was like, bro, please stop. And eventually I was just like, this is going to be my rap name because I really can't think of anything better. Everything else kind of sounded weird. And then I eventually just cut the cat off of it because I was like, there's probably 1.5 million people out there named Alley Cat. I mean, there's probably 1 million people named Alley and shit. I know sometimes people get my stuff tagged on like some other guy's page, and I'm like, it happens, I guess. You know
Free
what I mean?
promo.
Yeah, I'm like, you're welcome, I guess. You know what I mean?
Alley, and you didn't like it at first. That's a fun fact.
I was like, man, I'm like, that cannot be a good rap name, and like maybe it still isn't, but I don't know, it's kind of like a moniker. It's like, part of my name, like my real name is Alex, so like it's kind of like that. I'm like, it's not anything like too weird and shit. Best rap name I think I ever heard is my friend told me he would have gone and rapped by the name of Blunt Trauma, and I'm like, god damn, I wish I would have taken that, but
it's got to be taken by now, right?
It's probably fucking taken, yeah.
There's no way. True. There's no way that name's still available.
No.
When did he say that? Like 5 years ago?
That would have been a long time ago, yeah. So somebody else had to have come up with it.
Oh, see, like, Ruse is a bad one, too, to be honest with you. Alley and Ruse are probably equally bad. I mean, like, we're both, like, obscure enough to where it's, like, nobody's gonna... Like if anybody takes our name, they're just as obscure as us until they're not. Yeah. So that's the problem. Yep. Like, we either got to get famous quickly or we got to trademark this shit.
Yeah,
it's one
exactly.
Or the other.
Yep. Throw that little TM on there.
Yeah. Because, like, they're great because they're simple. Like, Alley Cat, I like that shift because Alley Cat's a good name, but Alley's kind of just got more of an obscurity to it. Like, it's more open in that way. Like, Alley Cat says a little more than Alley does. And I like that about it. But also just like, I don't know. That's a funny story. I would not have expected that. I knew it must have been related to your name because Alex. I figured there was something going on there.
Yeah, and I was like, it's easy to kind of recognize, you know what I mean? You'd be like, oh, this song is by Alley. Like, it's not some like really long fucking band name or something like that. But I don't know. Maybe I should throw my like zip code on the end of it or my area code or something. People be doing that.
I don't know. I like Alley's nice and like to the point.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, my problems I get associated with Russ.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody reads it as Russ, dude. Even when I'm playing Call of Duty, it's like Ruse Official. People are like, yo, Russ, drop over here. Like, okay. I just don't. I've never correct them because it's not even worth it.
You ever start playing your music for them and they're like, what the fuck, man? This bangs. Like,
yeah, it's me, Russ.
Yeah.
I should, but the problem is, like, I don't know if it's either they'll say it's good or they'll leave the lobby and I'm stuck playing by myself.
Yeah, that would suck. I get that.
They might mute me, and then I don't have a teammate anymore.
Yep.
So there's some possibilities there. I'll try it. You know what? 'Cause I've never tried it. I've never actually caught the song
Yeah,
on.
you never know.
That's good promo, especially if I go to like a full lobby, like like fucking 10 dudes with mics.
Like, yo, gonna let me DJ, throw your own shit on. They'd be like, what the fuck, dog?
I mean, it's either that or they start calling me some obscenities. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm recording it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's good for my YouTube channel. But yeah, man. I actually, you know what I did this time, and I don't normally do this, because I was thinking, you know what? I'll prepare for this, like an interview. And I actually have questions that I put on my phone. I did. Okay. So I actually went, those origins were some good ones. I got both of them right there. I asked you plenty about your origins. I feel like there's some more we could even go in there, like, but you know what? That's a great transition because we got plenty of origins. You've been making music with plenty of people throughout the years, my friend.
Yeah.
I've just been seeing you working with multiple individuals throughout this scene. One of those individuals being the great, the amazing, the inequable, the unique, beyond reproach, Gabe Sinclair.
Gabe.
Tell me about Gabe Sinclair, my friend. Just tell me about how you came to know Gabe Sinclair, first of all.
I met him through Danny Osborne, actually. I went to go shoot a video for a song that we were all on, and he was just there, and we were just kind of, shooting the shit, talking, and I think we talked about, like, making a song. At that shoot, we were like, we should work on some stuff. And we just have a lot in common, I guess, like, just kind of, like, growing up in similar environments, stuff, same kind of, like, like pseudo religious upbringing. So we had a lot, thematic stuff I feel like that we could work with. And we just started making music together, and it's pretty cool. I mean, dude's one of my, really good friends. And every time I hear something that he puts out, I'm blown away. I'm like, how the fuck can I make something that good? I'm like, how can I get my own shit to that level to be, somebody just just unreproachably raw about what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. His breakbeat stuff blows my mind.
It's crazy. I love
Where does
that
that
shit.
even come from? Like, for real, like, you don't even hear shit like that no more. Like, he's the only dude I really know that puts, like at least around here, that'll put anything out like that.
Yeah.
And it's so good.
And it's crazy. He'll throw it in, like, after, like, just the hardest fucking Memphis-style rap song you've ever heard, and you're like,
yeah, and it's
God
like,
damn.
whoa, we're in the Sonic theme song now. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Exactly, yes. I love
It's
it.
really good. And he does it like, the thing about a great artist is when they do something like that, it almost feels like so good, it feels like it was meant to be, like it's flawless. Like he just does it so seamlessly. That's what I'm looking for.
He's
Seamlessly.
like, another one of those people that I feel like he just does it because, like, almost because he has to, you know what I mean? Like, he like, if he didn't do it, I don't know what he'd be up to right now. I feel like it's probably good for him to be making music, I would hope. I love it, though.
He had a tape that, because he's one of those artists where it blows my mind that he's not more well known, because to me, I like hold him in such high regard.
Yep.
Like when I first heard his music, I was like, whoa, who even is this? What am I listening to? It blew my mind when I found out he was just a dude in a Wasso. Like,
just going in, dude. The first song I ever heard by him was the Jenna Rose "My Jeans" cover. I don't know if you heard that, where he like took that YouTube song and just covered it in like the most insane ass way possible. And I remember I just started sending that to everybody I knew. I was like, you gotta listen to this dude. I'm like, all of his stuff is crazy. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's all so varied. It's all just high production level. You know what I mean? This is high scale writing. Like, he's really putting his all into it. Like, it's cool. I've had a couple people that, like, they've told me, they're like, I can't stop listening to this by him, or like, I play this shit all the time. I'm like, fuck yeah, dog. Like, it's so cool to see other people appreciate that he's doing stuff at such an insane level.
yeah. And it really is at an insane level. In the sense that he produces a lot of his shit. He records his own shit. He mixes his own shit. He masters his own shit. So he's really doing pretty much everything beyond videos. He does outsource with videos, but even then, that's like the only thing.
Yeah, and it's like he can't shoot himself. You know what I mean?
But he
like,
started shooting videos. I have seen him make a couple videos for other people.
Yep.
So I think he's even diving into that.
Yeah, he is. I know he did one for Black Sheep. He got a nice camera, dude. He got one of those Black Magic, so it's like, it looks nice. He's good with the editing and stuff. I really think anything he tries, he just has a knack for it and can pick it up super fast. So it's cool when he's like branching out, like design-wise, to see stuff like that.
And that's why he inspires me in particular. That's why he sticks out to me, is like somebody like that, when they dive into all these different things and they have their like, they know how to represent themselves so clearly in each different art form. To me, that says that their vision is so clear to them. Like, they know what's, like, how to represent them in a way that is like, a lot of people just can't do that. Like, we take it for granted, like, when people can do that so well. Because it's something that is, it's like why Kanye is Kanye. Like, people can hate the things that Kanye says and does, but when it comes to the art he makes, that's why he's Kanye. That's why he is who he is. You don't have a lot of shit in hip-hop without Kanye taking that and going in a Kanye direction with it. And so when it comes to that type of thing, it's like you need people to, like, know how to represent themselves in that way. And it's also, like, I've heard this saying where it's like, if you want to be happy in life, one of the best things you can do is learn to represent your ideas in a cohesive way. Because then you can talk to people about the shit you're thinking.
Yeah.
And so when we see people like this go into these different art forms and just do it all so well, it says to me, like, it's like a model of, it's like a cult of personality type thing. Like, you don't just get those types of people. Like, there's like a...
It's like the X Factor, some people have it, some people do not have it, where it's like they can just go off and, be themselves in anything they make, and you get it, and it's like, that it's that person, that, they're making it just because they need to make that and, like, put themselves into it.
And if not that, then what else would they be doing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like somebody like Gabe is a model for the rest of us. He really is. And that's why I'm jealous of you, because you got a whole tape out of the dude, and from what I understand, there's another one on the way.
Yeah, we got a lot of demos for stuff. It's just the sense of like we made the last one, you know, sending it back and forth because I don't even really remember. I think it was just faster. We were both working a lot at the time, and he would send me an idea for something. I would just record, you know, send him the stems back, and then he would like build and change the beat around parts of it and stuff like that. So a lot of the songs on that first one are not anywhere what I had heard and recorded on. And then when I heard him back as the final, I'm like, all right, like hell yeah, dog, like let's go with it. So we have a bunch that like you know, he'd send me ideas for, I recorded on. And then we just want to get in person and kind of work on them, you know what I mean? And like workshop them and do them like intakes. I recorded a song with him for Danny Osborne's last album, like with him recording it. And like he was, you know, great to work with in the studio. And it's like, I feel like if I had that, it would help me kind of get to that next level, you know what I mean? Then if it's just me like laying a track down.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been, I think, he knew Danny, I'm trying to think of when he met Danny. He must have been... Well, you met him through Danny, so I guess they must have known each other right before that.
Yeah.
I think he met Danny shortly after, because I only met Gabe once, and that was when I did an interview with him, and I think they met shortly after that. But then they've kind of been in cahoots ever since then.
Yeah, he's definitely been helping a lot. He produced Danny's whole last album and stuff like that.
Oh, it was the whole album? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, wasn't it... He was involved quite a bit in... not his last album, but the one... I was on a track on there too, Mixed Signals. What's that album called? Burner.
Yeah.
I think, did he produce all that too?
I want to say he did like 2 or 3 of them on that, but that was the album that I met them on too. Yeah, I was on a song with them on that, on Burner.
Oh, really? That was when you got involved, right there.
Yeah.
What song was it on that album?
It's called Freebase.
Okay. I'm sure I've heard it. It's just been a minute since that tape came out.
Yeah.
Okay. Freebase. That must have been before I really started placing your face. Right before. And then when it comes to the whole what I was gonna say is I think it was around Burner, at least what it was that Gabe started mixing all of the songs at the very least. Like there was a significant difference in Danny's sound, I noticed, because you could hear like the Gabe Sinclair touch on the Danny tracks.
I mean, he's been doing it for like a decade, yeah. So he just, like, when you work with somebody that knows what they're doing, like, just that, like, in and out, it definitely, like, helps your stuff so much.
I think it's that he does it, but it's also that, like, I think that, you know, when people say everybody can, like, you know, anybody can do anything, that's only true to a point. Like, everybody starts from a certain point. Like, some people are just better at certain things than other people. And so, like, I feel like somebody like him is just intuitively more in touch with a lot of that type of thing. And that's why you see him get such a good... Like, even if you go to his shit from 10 years ago, he was still pretty on point with, like, his... like the crispiness of his sound. Like it never really had like a muddy sound to it. He's always kind of had a great punch to his music in a way that you don't see a lot of people have, even when they mix their own shit for 5 years, 8 years. So like that's one reason he's always stuck out to me too, is like he's in the same position as somebody like me, and yet his output is so good, and it's been that good for so long. It's like, again, an example for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Like, you can be that good with the type of things that you have in front of you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need crazy-ass equipment. You need, like, to refine your approach. That's the only way.
You just got to be willing to, put the time in to, learn what you need to learn to make yourself sound as good as possible.
Yeah.
Like, get what you want the sound to be across as clear as possible.
And it's not as easy as just... clicking a couple presets. It's like knowing what is actually happening in the mix. Like when something gets overcompressed or something gets, squished, or you're losing a certain thing in the sound. Like, I used to do so many things wrong that I can think of, and it just hurts to think about.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the other thing when you're mixing your own shit. I bet Gabe even has that I'm like praising these songs where he probably hates those mixes from 8 years ago.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Everybody, I feel like, listens back to stuff that they've made, like it's like after, some time has passed and you hear it and you're like, if I could do this now, it would be so much cleaner, you know what I mean? Or like so different in like, different like X way or whatever.
Because we all just get better, but that's why you keep at it and keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, dude.
Don't quit it, kids. Keep
Never
it going.
quit.
That's our moral for today. Yeah. I do have a couple more important questions that I'm not going to forget to ask you, such as Tropic Sesh 3. That's happening real freaking soon, ain't it?
Yeah, next Friday, February 11th, Tropic Sesh 3.
Yeah.
Oh my God, 5 to midnight, I want to say. It's a private party. It's going to be cool. There's nice food. There's going to be some good vendors, you know what I mean? I'm performing. I'm going to do some new shit I haven't really done before. Thought it would make a cool show. I've been kind of messing with the same songs past couple sets. So I'm like, switch it up a little bit. A lot of other good people. Tay Boogie's going to be there. She was really good as the last one I was there. I'm pretty hyped, man. It's cool to see stuff like that coming up where it's like you can have so many local aspects of, a culture and like bring them together and it like benefits everybody. It's not something that is like, taking energy away from anything and it's like helping build up the community.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not enough of that going on. And that's really the type of thing that I think...
Yeah, shout out Barry Lava, throwing it on.
Oh, is it Barry Lava that's
Yes.
putting it together? I didn't know that. Barry Lava was one of the guests on the podcast a long time ago. I got him and Death Plus to cut a wrestling promo on this podcast.
Nice.
It was really a highlight of the podcast, I must say. I go back and I watch that moment. I'm like, I can't even believe that actually happened. I got him to like he was talking in an accent and everything. It was really good.
Oh, yes. Dude, I was just at a wrestling show last night that Death Plus performed at. It was a no-ring deathmatch show.
Really?
Yeah, and he had a set right before the main event. It was hella good. I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, he's out here literally, rapping right before people just smacking each other with kendo sticks, sticking syringes in their face. I'm like,
that's some ICP shit right there. Like, ICP was doing that like 20 years ago, rapping at wrestling shows. I didn't know rappers still did that.
It's cool. This like promotion. I guess they do that like every episode. They have like different artists come out and perform like while they have wrestling matches and stuff. Like, it's dope.
Yo, dude, that would be a sick venue to perform at. Can you imagine? Like, just going out there and hyping up these wrestling fans that are ready to see people get, like, cut up. Like, they are out there for blood, and you're out there performing for them for 5 minutes before they get their blood. Mm-hmm. So it's like,
it was dope, dude. Yeah, it was really cool.
Like, they're hyped. Like, that's such a good audience to perform in front of. That'd be so fun. I can't even... Because you got to go out there with, like, that. You're basically a wrestler. Like, you're cutting a promo for them, like, as a performer.
Yeah. Like, you got to keep the energy up. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, like... If you go up there and, like, everything drops off, then people are going to be like, oh, shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it kind of kills the flow of the show. But if you go out there and hype everybody up, it's like... Let's go. Like, let's get it.
And that's performance in general, but that is one fun audience. I can only imagine.
Cool.
I'm surprised that doesn't happen like in like more mainstream things, like with performers at wrestling events. It's like even like WWE rarely, like that's like a WrestleMania type deal.
Yeah,
like,
they
they're
don't
not
bring them in all the time.
Yeah, like that's a special episode of Raw right there. But when it comes to that show, where is it at exactly? I don't know if you said.
Oh, it was at Simon's After Dark.
Okay,
so
Simon's After Dark.
I think they're throwing Horror Slam Pro Wrestling did it. I think they're throwing the next one in Taylor someplace at like the VFW or something. I don't know. It's pretty cool. Y'all should look it up. Go get out there. You know, see some local performers and stuff. It was cool. Everybody did a great job.
Okay. How long has Barry Lava been putting together shows?
I think Tropic Sesh was his first one.
Really?
If I remember.
And this is the third one then?
Yeah.
All right. Tropic Sesh 3. Mm-hmm. That's what that number means. I wasn't sure if it was just random.
Oh, no. I'm pretty sure it's the third one. I hope I didn't miss any. That would be kind of weird.
Tropic Sesh 3. And when you said it's 5 to 11, that's like an all-day type deal.
No, like 5 p.m. to like 11 p.m.
Yeah, so that means like, is it you got a long-ass set, or how does that go?
I feel like last time people didn't start, like the music didn't start till like 6 or 6:30ish. But then there was like a couple different sets, you know what I mean? They don't go on like one after another. There's like a little DJ spinning shit in between. So it's not like all back to back to back, but it's pretty cool, man. I missed the second one. I was hella bummed out. This dude I know named Flame performed at it. I heard it was pretty good. I was like, nice, man. You know, it's always cool to see other people getting up and like doing shit.
That's a crazy ass, simple ass name too.
Yeah, another one.
Makes you like wonder, like Flame. Who the fuck is that?
It's like some X-Men shit.
Yeah, it's an X-Men name. Yeah. For real, it is. I want to ask you too about the artwork for Michigan Bishops. What the fuck is that, and how did where does that come from?
My boy Christian, that I've just known for a minute. He's he's married to one of my friends I used to work with. He just does like, marker art like that. And I was like, do you think you could do like an undead bishop and just make it like as bad shit crazy as possible? And he's like, I'm gonna make it, fucking nuts for you. And he sent that back, and I was blown away. I was like, dude, this is something, it's so eye-catching, it's so bright, and the whole thing is literally just, marker on paper. I was like, it's so nuts. Like, it's not like digital or anything. I was like, I love it, dog.
Huh. That's marker on paper? And he just took a photo of it or something?
Yeah,
scanned it?
I might have scanned it. Yeah, I can't remember. If I didn't scan it, it's just like a high-res phone photo.
Wow.
To be real, probably that I would have pulled up in Photoshop and squared up.
Really? Because that's great artwork. I'm guessing for that second one, you're gonna have to recruit him or something.
I would love to get him back on it. I thought he did such a good job fitting the vibe of the songs for it. That if he could do that with the second one too, it'd be it would just keep the theme going. Help build kind of like an idea behind it. Like you look at it, and you're like, this is a cohesive thing spreading across multiple tapes. Like I don't it's a follow-up, so in a sense it's got to build upon what the first one is, you know what I mean, and expand some of the ideas of it, and the expand the sound of it and bring it wider than we have done before or anything like that. So if you can get the same kind of artwork hand in hand with it, to help accentuate the ideas that you're trying to really highlight, I think it would be so beneficial.
Yeah, but that's a tough thing. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Because music is a sonic thing, and the artwork is something that stands on its own and is meant to represent what that album is. I find artwork to be, it's fun, but it's also it's difficult. It's almost like a music video too. You want your music video to not only be good, but to represent what the song represents to you, and that's not easy because. It might come out like that. It might come out a whole different way than you would expect.
Yeah.
That's why it's tough for me, again, to put things in other people's hands all the time. Because with the music video especially, if I were making music videos, I'd probably be with other people. I'd probably be who the fuck is it that directs all his own videos? There's a certain artist that does that. He's real popular. Everybody knows him. He does all those remix songs. He had that feud with some rapper that's he does his name starts with a J, I think. It's not gonna come. He did a song with Logic recently called ADHD or ADD, if you know who that is. What's his name, man? It's so close. Man. I you know what? I usually have my phone not next to me, but I do have it next to me, so I can Google it. And I'm gonna Google it. Logic ADD, and who is the guy? Oh, come on, we're going to find it. Joyner Lucas. There it is. Joyner Lucas. He directs all his own music videos.
Okay.
I really didn't need to find his name, but the point being, Joyner Lucas directing all his own music videos, I'd probably be like that, dude, because, dude, that's the easiest way to do it. If I just went through other people and said, yo, we're filming this all one take, it's going to be like Scorsese. I would want it to be legendary. I'm thinking the movies I watch. I don't want my music video to be some cookie cutter shit.
Yeah.
That'd be tough for me. I'd be struggling. So.
It is hard to let go of creative control on stuff like that. There's sometimes obviously work because pretty much everything I do is just in conjunction with other people. So it's sometimes I'll have an idea that I'm this would be kind of cool, but I can't change aspects of something else that somebody else already has going, you know what I mean, to sometimes you can, but I personally I feel weird. I don't want
you don't want to step on anybody's toes.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm I can kind of just bend what I'm trying to work on to fit that. I feel But it like, especially with video, yeah, just because like I've done video edits and stuff before where, you know, like I feel like I have to do it because I'm like, I want it to be a certain way, but like if somebody else was doing it, I feel like that, you know, they send it back to me, I'm like, I don't know, man. But most of the time, the people I'm working with on it now are like, you know, hella good. So I have no fear about sending shit to them and just being like, yeah, do whatever you want with it, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like I've gotten more open with that just as I've gotten older. It's like it helps other people interpret the art in a different way than like if it was just solely me behind it. You know what I mean? It's like multiple ideas that are kind of, you know, working together to benefit it.
And that's the real thing that you learn throughout time is that collaborative efforts pull out things that you could not come up with by yourself. Like they just do. Mm-hmm. There's certain things that you can try to do, but it's all unique to you. It's your vision, and so, you know, if you're trying to come up with a certain idea, perhaps you just need that guy right there to say that one thing, and you're like, oh, and then you put those pieces together, or it's like having your part of it and then having somebody else come in and kind of just take it to another level, kind of like what happened with Michigan Bishops.
Yeah, yeah.
That is another way of just getting a collaborative thing that's beyond what you could have even possibly done. Like it's something like you're listening to those songs back and you're like, oh, all right, I guess, yeah. It's like just different than like you never know what to expect. You know, that's one reason I like to, like, if I'm making a rap song, a lot of the time if I'm just writing it by myself, I could write a second verse, or I could just leave this open because I know somebody else is going to come in here with something completely different than whatever I could possibly come up with. Like this song needs someone else. And that's another thing. Like you just can't do certain things by yourself. Music videos are a good example of that. They are. Because if you know a guy who really knows what he's doing, like, yeah, as a matter of fact, I think that's another thing going on between Danny and Gabe. I think Gabe did make that one video with Danny not that long ago. It was pretty sick. I can't remember what the song's called, but it was pretty freaking sick.
Yeah, they've had a couple, I think. Yeah, they've all been pretty like.
Where's
smooth.
their tape at? What the fuck?
I know, that's what I'm saying. Where are you guys gonna do a whole collab? Like, I want to hear something. You know, they had a couple songs on his last album that they both did vocals on, but I'm like a whole, you know, thing.
Basically, everything they do is a collab.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when it comes to Danny, at least, I feel like there's a touch of Gabe on almost everything now, which is beautiful. But it's like I'm waiting for that official drop. Where is it?
I feel like, yeah. I mean, I guess in our like this area, I feel like the more he can get his hands in, like music wise and stuff like that, like I feel like more power to him. Because if somebody like that talented is willing to work, you know, on something with people and like help refine them, like I mean, I feel like he made me a better artist. I wouldn't, you know, I'd probably put way more effort, and like I've always felt like, you know, I'm like trying to write the best I can, but now like when you work with people of that caliber, you're like, holy shit, I really got to step it up to be like, you know, I don't want to be the one dropping the ball on this, you know what I mean? So it's like, it really just brings everybody up around.
Yeah, for real. That is another part of it, is just seeing someone else put in that effort. That's kind of like being in a band too. And you don't experience that like by yourself on stage, but when you have other people on stage with you and you see them putting in effort, it makes you more apt to do it because you're not just doing this for you anymore. Now it's like you have this energy you're trying to keep up. Like, you are responsible for this. Like, especially if you're the vocalist. So you're up there representing what's going on, and that to me just like it took it to another level. So it's really fun to be on stage with other people, just in general. Like, even if you pull up a person for like 5 minutes for like a feature on stage, you get a whole different type of thing. Yeah because there's people that, you know, came to see that person as well, and like they'll bring more energy when their, you know, favorite person is up there than, you know, like if it's just some rando, they might not know that well, you know. Yeah, that too. I mean, like, that's the real thing. There's plenty of things that are good about collaboration. That's the marketing way to look at it, is just you're getting your face in front of somebody else too. Like you really tap into a whole different group of people every time you talk to one person. When I was doing 60 Seconds with for a while, that was something like I didn't even have like a full grasp on. It's like what we were talking about earlier about, you know, how you don't expect people to have certain reactions to things when you do them. Like when you make art, you can't expect that it's going to affect somebody in some type of way because you just can't. You're the artist. Like, you're making it, and you're just trying to represent whatever you're doing. And that just blossoms into this butterfly effect of whatever it is. And so when it came to interviews, I really need to pick it up again because, I mean, that's kind of like what this is even.
Yeah, in a
but
sense.
you get somebody there and you highlight them. And then there's not that much of that going on in Flint. There's some people who do interviews, but not really. And so, like, and again, I don't care. I'm not even fucking taking credit. I'm just saying, like, when someone does something like that, you'll see things like people will come in and they'll tell me like, oh, yo, I met this guy because I saw him on this video. So there's like the interconnections that happen. Like, people find out about certain people through the shit you did, but also your connections grow exponentially because now you met this one guy and this one guy and this one guy, and you don't even realize how many people you know until you start like talking to other people about it. And they don't know any of the people you're talking about. Like, there's so many freaking people around all the time. And and that's the thing that's like a constant, like, people focus way too much on promotion, and way more of it is just who you know and who you collaborate with and who you get your face in front of. And it's an art. It's an art. You have to find a reason is the hard part. You have to like be
you
like,
don't
yo,
want to just be doing it for nothing. Yeah, you want to be doing it with people that like you respect as an artist, you know, because it's like you want to work with
you
them.
got to give them a reason.
Yeah.
You got to make them want to do it. Like, yo, like that, like a podcast makes sense or an interview makes sense because then like it's good for both people. Like, it makes sense rather than like, you know, it's just harder to get, especially somebody like with a bigger name. Like, if you wanted to get Long Neck, dog, I don't know how I'd get Long Neck. He wouldn't respond to me. But a podcast with Long Neck would be gold.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be gold. Like, that would get me on the map, baby.
Yeah.
If I could just get Long Neck in this room, and he's only like 5 miles away.
Yeah, I didn't know he was like from right around here till recently, and somebody was like posting about how he's like right from out here. I'm like, hell yeah, dog, Michigan representing, let's go.
And I would love to talk. I'm not even gonna like dude. I'd be so happy to meet Long Neck.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I've met him a couple times because for one, I saw him at a Theo Von show when I went to a Theo Von show in Detroit. I saw him walking out of the show, and I was like, yo, that's Long Neck. But I worked at the Coney in the mall at the Genesee Valley Mall around here, and he came up there, I think twice. But like, yeah, it was fun taking his order, you know, because he's just semi-famous, so it's so weird getting nervous.
It's like surreal, yeah. It's like you see somebody that you only see like in your phone or like on TV or something, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, you're here in real life. Like, this is like really kind of strange.
And again, he's not like Hollywood. Like, it's not like I'm seeing Alec fucking Baldwin or nothing.
Yeah.
It's just Long Neck, but it's like, yo, like, you're the guy. And I came up to him after, and I'll never forget, because I like went on my break right after I took his order. So I was like, oh shit, like,
Have to go talk to him, yeah.
Yeah, I had to. I was nervous because I felt stupid being nervous. It's like, dude, it's just a guy, but it's fucking Long Neck. So I'm about to walk out there in my stupid Coney shirt and just approach him. What am I gonna say? Like, I'm gonna look stupid. I bet everybody does that. So I thought, like, okay, well, I do interviews. So I'm gonna walk up to him. I'm gonna say, yo, I do interviews, Long Neck. Like, you know, you want to do an interview, blah, blah, blah. Nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And so I can't even remember what I said. I walk out to him and I say all that. And then the guy next to him goes, because I said, like, I do 60-second interviews. And the guy said, oh, 60 seconds with? Yo, you interviewed this guy. And I was like, yes, I did.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, that was the best plug I could have gotten. And it still didn't get Long Neck to hit me up. So I don't think it's possible, man. But I approached him. His crew recognized me. Like, I felt famous.
Yeah, dog.
I couldn't believe that. So I mean, like, yeah, it's not easy out here for a pimp, is what I'm saying. I mean, they make it hard for us. Look, I'm just trying to get what is it? Get rich or die trying. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to get famous, man. How does this happen? I mean, how do I become Long Neck? Do I have to get surgery? Is that what this is? I have more important questions for you.
All right.
I do. We could go all day. Now, this question is super duper important. Super duper important. Matter of fact, I don't even have it written down. That's how important it is. Tell me about Danny, because you told me that you met Gabe through Danny, so that means you met Danny first. So how did you come across the rapper Danny Osborne?
He just messaged me on Instagram one day and was like, "Yo, I fuck with your music. I just put out a tape called Darkest Horizons or whatever, which was all like sci-fi influence and stuff." He's like, "I thought this was cool. You know, like I would love to make a song with you." And I'm like, "Yeah, dog. Like, you know, I'm not doing anything. Like, let's go. You know, if you got something right now, send it to me." And then we ended up just making a song ended up getting Gabe on it too, because he was gonna mix it originally and he ended up doing the hook. But I just met him through that. Went out to shoot a video for it because he was like, "Would you want to do a video for this?" I'm like, yeah. I'm like, since Jack and Nathan had like moved away, I'm not doing too many videos for other people and stuff. So I was like, "Yeah, dude, it'd be fun. I would love to do that." So went out there and met him, shot a video and stuff, and we just been homies. He's kind of like my little bro. Went on a couple car trips with him and stuff like that. We're just friends. Just kicking it.
I swallowed my wine wrong, so excuse me. But I saw that car trip. Oh, excuse me. I'm trying to get the sentence out so I can just suffer over here while you talk. But I saw you went on a car trip with him. And I can't remember where it was, but it said you got there around sunset.
Yeah.
It looked beautiful.
Yeah, we left from here, like out, or not here, but like over by where I stay, like out by Detroit and shit, at like 5 a.m. and got out to Kansas City, Missouri for a show, for a basement show for Perfume and Curse the Knife and Honeymoon, who like, if anybody listens to shoegaze out there, 3 of the best bands out there doing it right now. Went to go see them at a show. I was just like, yo, I need somebody to go with me because I can't just drive out there and drive back, you know what I mean? I'm probably going to pass out. So he was like, yeah, whatever, I'll take work off right out there. So we were in the car for like 12 hours going there, saw the show, got some food, and basically immediately turned around and went back and got back at like 9 a.m. the next day.
So you guys stayed the night there, actually? Because, yeah, I was thinking you got there late if you got there around sunset.
We drove back after the show, so we didn't stay out there. I was up for a long time.
It was a long drive.
Yeah, it was like,
Missouri.
20-some hours round trip, yeah, just in a day, like, fuck it, to go see them. Because they were playing in Lansing, but wasn't able to get work off. And then my boy that moved out to Kansas City, like, his band, was playing out there. He was in Perfume, and I was like, I'd love to go see this lineup, especially if my friend is playing on it, you know what I mean? I'm like, that's like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. So I went out there and just caught it, and, he was kind enough to come with me. Didn't mind riding out.
Yeah, that's a fun little road trip. I mean, that's a road trip with purpose.
Yeah, dude, the whole time I'm like, gonna get here, see this shit, it's gonna be sick, and it did live up to my expectations, so I was like, this is good shit. Like,
and the whole drive back, you're like, fucking yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, just hyped up off of it, yeah.
Well, I mean, you can only be hyped for so long. At a certain point, you're like, damn, it's a long drive.
Yeah, true.
Probably for the first 5 hours, you're like riding off the high of the concert. And
yeah, duh.
The last 5, you're like, shit, okay, I'm ready to go home now.
Yeah, getting through Indiana, that's a boring ass state. Like, it's just flat, bro.
Yeah, Indiana is pretty flat. And you're not passing anything, like, you're not passing any clear cities.
It's just
nothing.
field and field and field.
They probably don't got no good tourist traps or nothing around there. You just got to go and get out. And then, like, you said, what state was it?
Missouri.
Missouri, yeah. What made you decide to go to that show in the first place? You just saw it was happening? You were like...
Well, yeah, I saw the tour was happening, and then my friend was, like, playing on that date. And I was like, if I'm going to go to this, and I missed the one that was in Michigan, so I'm like, if I'm going to go to this, I might as well go out to the one that my boy is playing on and shit. So it was cool.
It's a bold decision.
Yeah, I don't do a whole lot of shit like that just because it's like, it's so much time, you know what I mean, to get to stuff. But I was like, I'm not really trying to miss this one. It's like once in a lifetime thing. I feel like I like trying to see bands before they like really blow up because it's cool to see them in that like more intimate setting before they get in like a bigger venue and like, get an audience that is like a little harder to be like closer up and like check shit out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. It really is a different vibe at like Because you said it was in a basement.
It was literally in a basement. Yeah, it looked like a cave. Like it was just carved out of some rocks.
Those are fun shows.
It was nice. It was packed in there. Yeah, it was fun as hell.
They're like house parties almost.
Yeah, in a sense.
Like everybody's just kind of jamming in a basement, and then you go upstairs, and you're like, yeah, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And you're just chilling upstairs, and it's like a house party now. Like that's a fun show.
That was my first shows I ever played were in a basement. This dude had a venue in his basement called the Freedom Shack. And we played for some this kid Jack Benton's 16th birthday. It was like a whole bunch of straight edge punk bands and then Squid Squad, and I was like, this is a crazy ass lineup, dog. It was fun.
That sounds like a great time.
It was nuts, man.
Oh, dude, like those are the best local shows. Like that's so much better than even like a venue because it's like literally it's a party. Mm-hmm. You said the Freedom? What was it?
Freedom Shack.
The Freedom Shack.
And it was Shack spelled with like a Q, like Shack and shit. Like it was just all around just good stuff.
Oh, dude. And that's just so great because you tell your friends, yo, we're performing at the Freedom Shack. And then they get there and they're like, yo, what is this? Yeah. A house. It's fun. I think I only got the honors of performing in a basement once. And it was such a good time. It really was. Like, it was like I said, it was like a house party. Like, we went downstairs, we saw the other band, we went upstairs, we chilled, went downstairs, saw another band, went upstairs, we chilled, went up downstairs. Our turn to perform. And, of course, you get downstairs, and it's like there's a lot of people down here. It's like it's more humid than when you got to the top
you're watching, yeah.
As you descend down the stairs, you, like, feel the heat.
It's entering a whole nother environment almost, yep.
But that's what makes it fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's a great time. I mean, like, man, house shows in general, I think just really, it's kind of hard to beat them when it comes to like putting on a show on stage. You gotta offer me something, man, because I mean, those house shows are just a party. They like at a house show as a performer even, you feel like you're more free. Like, who gives a fucking
You're literally
house show?
like down face to face with people. You know what I mean? And when you're right there with people, they interact with you more. I feel like they really can get what you're trying to like.
Yeah, because to them, you're just another person at the party.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you're just like you're jamming with them. Like so that's and they're more likely to be drunk. So that probably helps too.
That is true.
I mean, let's be honest.
You can fuck up a lot more if people are a little drunk because they will not notice.
And they're even if you're like fucking up, like or you're not fucking up, they're gonna like what you're doing like at least 10% more.
Yeah.
Probably like 50% more.
There's probably some bar science in this. John Taffer can figure this out.
That is some bar science.
Yeah.
There's a number. There's gotta be.
Yeah.
Like I know for a fact that drunk people are just more generous. Like you can pull some shit off in front of a drunk person, and like I mean, I've been drunk and I've experienced this. Like I've listened to a song that I didn't like that much, and it was like, okay, yeah, that's like I liked it a lot. Like not even a little bit. Like I really liked it. I was like, and then you listen to it sober again, and you're like, nope, that's just a bad song.
For me, yeah. Yeah.
So like, there's something happening there for sure. There's some witchcraft there. That's some hypnosis. I do want to know too about the collab tape with Graham, because I think we talked about that before the podcast. I don't think we actually mentioned that on camera. So tell me a little bit about how that came to be. I know that he made those beats, but was it a matter of like he's sending over some beats and you're just laying down your vocals, or how does that come to be?
That one we actually kind of linked up a couple times to work on it in person. Like he would send me an idea and I would write, and then he would either come over to my spot or I'd go to his place and we would record just in person. Like on a single mic for like the whole song, just so it would sound more cohesive and stuff. But since we both work with Logic Pro, I would just send him the project file because I'm like, if you made the beat, and you want to mix this, like you'll probably mix it better than how I would do it. You know what I mean? And plus you have the ability to go in and tweak the beat how you want as you're mixing it and stuff. But I mean, it originally started, we were just gonna do a little EP, and he sent me like 2 or 3, and then he just had a couple more ideas, and like I really just make music for the fun of it almost, you know what I mean? Like I like when people want to work on stuff, especially if it's not something that I'm coming up with the idea for in the beginning, you know what I mean? It's fun to like build off of something that somebody sends to me. So it just kind of evolved into a whole album from there. Tried to cover a lot of different like musical styles within it. I feel like he did a really good job of having different sounds, but it's at the same time like still having a cohesive kind of like thought throughout the whole thing. There's some like news skits and stuff littered throughout it that kind of keep the vibe going.
Samples are a great touch when it comes to that type of thing, like popping those in there. It's a great touch. It just makes things feel, like you said, the cohesive, especially if you're doing it throughout the whole tape.
Yeah, it kind of just brought, like, it was trying to go for like a widespread disaster event almost. And like having that, like, just like little news things about small mishaps going on, like kind of tied into the theme of that and helped build it up.
Okay. Like, what? So, how would you describe the concept of the tape then? Like, what exactly was your idea of what it was?
I just wanted to, I guess, like with him and stuff, we were kind of trying to make something political in a sense, because there's a lot of stuff that you can say these days. That is like you're pretty much like a lot of time shit gets censored, and like that doesn't happen as much these days. So you can kind of say a lot of what you want to. We were really trying to just be open about stuff that we thought was going on in the world, and tie it into at the same time like thematic or like cinematic elements of just like like devastation, like widespread stuff. Kind of just going wrong. There's like oil tankers on fire and shit out in the water, and like all this shit like light in the water and Flint. There's just a lot of corruption and stuff that you can, touch upon and try to bring awareness to just through music if you can, say it in a way that people are going to want to listen to it and not just be like, this motherfucker is just preaching like crazy. You know what I mean?
That's a beautiful way to, because remember what I was saying earlier about how I don't like to just, like that making music for me is necessary because it feels more, it feels better than just saying what I'm going to say. And that's a great that reason alone, like the subject matter you're describing is the very reason that music can be a better vehicle for certain things. Like you just can't say a lot of those things without making people jump to a certain conclusion or assume that you're coming at it in some type of way. Whereas with music, it's a strange thing, man. It's like you open up that avenue for somebody who normally, like, they wouldn't get your point, but, like, they don't care because they're just vibing with the song. Mm-hmm. And, like, it's like Rage Against the Machine. Like, they are so on point with all the shit they say, and so many people who don't even really understand what they're saying still like Rage Against the Machine.
Yep.
Like, you're able, if you can, and that's because Rage Against the Machine is riding that line. They ride that line in a way that's, like, incredible to me because they're straight up saying it, but they're still, like...
They're just so... they're so talented that they're able to just be like, this is what the hell we want to say. And, like, you can listen to it because everything else you're hearing with it is so insane that, like, you can't turn it off.
Yeah,
almost.
And you know what they're saying is true because you feel it in your soul. Like, I could literally see, like, a U.S. senator who's fucking everybody over still listening to Rage Against the Machine on their headphones because even though, like, that shit is talking about them, like, that is... It's a universal thing, and I think music can do that in a way that nothing else can. Like, you just can't show people the truth in the way that music can. So I did not realize that that's what Zeitgeist Ultra represented to you. That is a great...
Yeah, in a sense.
Yeah, because, like, to me, that's what music represents to me, is that opportunity that you have. You know, you can take things that normally people wouldn't want to grasp and make it easy to understand, make it resonate with them in a way that makes sense to them, you know, because a lot of the time it's like what you said, it sounds like preaching. Like, no matter what the topic is, if it's something that comes across as divisive or political, people just generally aren't as open-minded as they would be with something of another topic that's not as, you know, they don't elevate it to that point. And so it's hard to even come at things that way because a lot of the time you're not trying to pick a side. Most people don't fucking care. Most people are just like, man, I would like to just, you know, live my life. And so when those people like fucking hear all this shit, they just get tired of this shit. They're like, no, dude, I don't even want to, I just want to fucking live my life. Leave me alone. So it's hard to represent things that are important to somebody who just fucking wants to go to work and have a kid and fucking die. Like, they don't want to do all this shit.
Yeah.
It's hard.
There's just so much that, you know, everybody has an opinion on everything in the world. Like, that's just what being a human is, you know what I mean? So it's like, if I have a way to express my opinion about stuff that I also feel like is going to be interesting for people to take in and be like, you know, this shit is cool. Like, they, you know, they might hear it and be like, I like the sound of this. You know, it's better than me just like going on a rant and like just saying exactly what I'm thinking all the time. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's better for me as a person to be able to express my ideas in that way than compared to, you know, just being 100% saying everything I think. I don't know. You know what I mean?
You know what's interesting about it? I think it was Vaughn Lambo. I had a podcast with him, and I believe it was him that brought up this idea to me. But I thought it was very, very an interesting way to look at it. And it was basically that like music is more of a feminine thing versus, you know, like to be a musician is like a feminine approach to life. Like, or just to be an artist is a feminine way to look at it because it's that open-mindedness. It's that, you know, whereas the masculine approach would be that direct approach. It would be just saying it for what it is. And I almost think that that's like, you know, it's almost true. Like, it's more of a nurturing, understanding thing to look at it with that open-minded way. Because, you know, like, the easy way to do it is to just look at it with that fucking straight up, like, everything is what it is. But that's not what opens people up. That's not what helps people understand shit. You're never going to change somebody's mind by just straight up saying something. That's why you see this said in multiple places, but I see Tim Dillon, the comedian, say it all the time. You're never going to get anywhere with anybody talking to them on Facebook. Like, you're crazy. If you think. And I fall into this trap all the time, and I remind myself, like, I got to get out of this place. I cannot even be on here. But, you're never going to, like, no matter what you think, it's never going to make it. Don't even do it. You're wasting your energy.
So much gets lost in translation too when you just, you know, are writing something out and saying it and like just putting it out there. Like, you don't have the inflection in your voice that can like really get across what you're trying to say or anything like that. And then like when you take like complex ideas and try to make, you know, music about it and, you know, expand upon shit, you have the whole other aspect of like, it has to fit with the sound of the instrumental to help get across what you want happening. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if you're not doing that, then it sounds like dissonant between what you're saying and what the people are hearing. Like, it doesn't flow as cohesively.
Yeah, there's got to be, I mean, it's almost like everything where that inhuman, like that human thing really matters. Like, I think art can kind of fill that gap, but when you're talking to somebody over the phone, you're talking to them on like a video chat, it's just not the same as if I'm talking to you right here. Yeah. Like, even those two things, those aren't even texting. Those are like, I hear your voice, or even if I see you on a video, it's not the same as if I'm right here and you're right there and we're just talking. It's like we were saying earlier about like working with other artists. Like, you ain't gonna make a song with Squid Squad till you're all in the same room and you're all doing that, because that's what it is. Like, there's not a 3-person video chat that's going to fill that gap. Yeah. And so I think that, that's another big part of it is you lose that human aspect a lot with, like, any interaction on social media. It's just impossible. Like, you can't do it. Maybe, like, there's certain forms that work better. Like, I think podcasts and YouTube where you have long-form shit helps, because then you get, like, you cannot not be yourself if you're talking for, like, an hour or whatever. Like, at a certain point, it just becomes difficult to put on a front. But, like, if you're just doing, like, a 5-minute thing, like, it's just different through a device than it is in person. Because there's also a million cues that you and I don't even really understand, like, that happen in the background. Like,
subconscious stuff. I mean, that's, like, a whole aspect of linguistics in itself. Yeah, it's just, like, body language and all that.
And the way that, you know, we talk and the way we respond and just everything that, you know, you don't even really consider. But you're not going to get that through a phone call or a text or anything. It's just, it's possible. It's not going to happen. So, that's I agree. A lot is lost in translation. It's tragic, man.
Yeah.
It's tragic. But then again, I also wouldn't want to be 200 years ago where we just don't really know what's happening like 100 miles away at all. Like anywhere beyond that point, it's just kind of like, oh, I guess I'll find out later.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm always torn between that because, like, in a sense, like, it is kind of nice to have a big picture of what's happening in the world. But then on the other hand, I'm like, damn, the world's pretty messed up a lot of the time. Ignorance might be bliss. Like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine
just being in the middle of nowhere. I would probably be pretty serene. Like, if I was just in the middle of fucking Alaska, probably be pretty sick.
Yeah.
If they just didn't bug me and I was out there in my cabin and I could just, like, get my shit once a week, probably be pretty chill.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be worrying about much. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the world blows up, I guess.
You wouldn't even realize. You'd, like, go back, like, 10 years later, just, like, society, you'd be like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are crazy. I'm going back home.
You ever seen that movie or that show, Alaskan Bush People?
No.
There's people that live like that, dog. It is insane. They had a camera crew follow them. And, like, you know, it might have been, like, kind of fake because it's, like,
everything is on reality TV.
Yeah. But it was just so nuts. These people are, like, they literally look like bushmen, just living their normal-ass life, going up into town, climbing trees and shit. And I'm like, this is probably the dream, man. Like, I wish I could get this kind of joy in my life.
Yeah, like, the funny thing is, like, we're watching it like, wow, these guys are stupid. But, like, they figured it out.
Yeah, man.
Like, they just know what's up.
Yeah.
They know what's important. They're just out there in the wilderness. Like I'm jealous. I mean, even here, I feel like I'm missing out on so much shit. Like, really, I'd love to, like, live in, like, a mountain range or somewhere. It's just, there's so much inconvenience associated with being so far from things you'd think. Like, you know, like a gas station. That's close right here. Mm-hmm. So if we were out in Alaska or out in, like, the mountains, like, you got to plan ahead when it comes to that type of shit. Yeah, that is true. Yeah. You don't want to run out of gas on the way to the gas station when the gas station's 5 miles away.
You got to walk there and walk back. Yeah, that shit would suck.
Yeah, and especially if it's winter time or fucking something crazy like that. Like, we're talking life and death now. So
I'd probably just lock down for the winter. I feel like if I had to up there, I'd be like, all right, Shining right now. This is The Shining.
We get our essentials every 2 weeks and we don't leave the house. Yep. Like, that's what it is.
Yep.
But it would also be freaking beautiful, so you'd want to go outside.
Yeah,
you want to see the mountains. And that's the thing that drives me nuts. Is like, I know around here, I ain't getting that scenery. Like, you don't get that in, like, Michigan. Was it Indiana? Is that flat ass? Like, Ohio? You ain't getting shit in Ohio.
Yeah, dude. I feel that. Out west is crazy. I went out to Vegas a couple years ago, and just seeing, like, you know, the rock formations and stuff out there is, like, just mind-blowing. I'm like, this is so nuts.
That's one thing I haven't experienced in my life. The Grand Canyon? You didn't go there, did you?
No. Just, we went to Red Rocks, and then we drove through Arizona, like, through the desert out there. So just, like, for a couple hours, you know, just seeing, like, mountains and stuff off in the distance. It was nuts.
And I'm sure it's just, like, scenic, like you said, for hours.
Yep.
Like, it just doesn't end. Mm-hmm. You don't have that shit around here. There's nothing like, you know, I bet if you came from there and came here, you'd be like, this is boring.
It's just like little town after little town out here. Yeah, you know what I mean? And they're all kind of like similar versions of each other almost. And then you get to like the metropolitan ones that just end up branching off into huge, you know, little suburbs and stuff. But there's not like a whole lot of differentiation between the scenery and stuff. Like you're saying, there's not as many forests as there used to be or anything.
Yeah, and there ought to be.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, like, I guess when you're on, like, rides at the local amusement park that go high enough, you can see above, and you're like, damn, there's a lot of trees here. Mm-hmm. And it makes me think, like, yeah, like, kind of what you just said, like, there were forests here all over before, like, everybody civilized all of it. Like, I can only imagine how beautiful it would have been maybe 200 years ago when it was just a big-ass forest all over the place with some cities. But now, maybe that's what makes it so ugly, is there's just so much shit and not enough, like, wilderness. Because I bet it would be pretty cool around here if we had some big-ass, like, Formar, if you've been there, or if you have, like, a nature reserve. I know you live, like, a little bit away. Are there any nature reserves around you?
I think there's a few. I haven't been to any, but I used to go to, like, you know, a bunch, like, out in Lansing and stuff, and it was always just so nice to be able to go in the middle of a town, like, you know, or a city, and just, like, be in acres and acres of forest and stuff.
It's a trip almost.
Yeah, it's
because
nuts.
You're like, damn, like, this is how it's supposed to be. Like, if you go up north, you kind of experience that. That's the only other place you're going to see it. Unless you're going, like, on a trip somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's yeah. It's like what we're saying about the Alaskan bush people, man. They got this shit figured out.
Yeah.
Like, are you familiar with Wim Hof? Oh, I'd highly recommend looking into him. He's a guy who he made his own like fucking breathing technique. He climbed Mount Everest naked, like a bunch of crazy shit, like
Jeez.
to prove that like he's not just talking out his ass. He does like I think he ran the Sahara Desert like for without water for like I think 24 hours, but it could have been longer than that.
That is crazy.
Something crazy,
Yeah.
like shit that you'd think would kill a person. But he just, like, the way that he approaches shit, he's got, like, videos on YouTube. He's got a YouTube channel, I think, and all that. But he'll just go on there and be like, yeah, man, it's just like, he grew up in, like, I think it was some, like, cold-ass climate. And his whole story really starts with, like, he started swimming in ice-cold water. And, like, people would tell him, don't go do that. And he would just go do that. And that was what he thought. He just knew, like, intuitively, this is probably something I should do.
Yeah.
And so he would go do that. And then he through that, and then he developed his breathing technique because he found that if he's, like, swimming, he's going to have to get a bunch of fucking breath in. Like, especially in cold-ass water. Like, when you're super cold, you start breathing different. You start, like, pulling in more air. So, all this being said, somebody like him... He's doing all this shit intuitively. Like, he's not listening to what other people are saying and like, going off that. He's going off of, like, oh, I'm in the cold. Okay, this is freezing cold. I've been swimming for, like, 20 minutes. I got to figure out a way to make this possible or else something ain't going to work here.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're making it work, which is shit that you'd have to do if you were fighting against wilderness all the time.
Yeah.
And so somebody like that is, like, and that's why he can do all the shit he does, and he tells people like, "This is how I do it. I do these things with the breathing technique, which is crazy. I highly recommend it, dude. I'm not gonna go through all of it right now, but it's fucking wild." And then the other thing is, he's got I think he did another thing where they injected him with E. coli and he didn't get sick, and then he had like a group of people just to prove that it wasn't just him, and he trained them over like 2 weeks, and they got injected with E. coli, and then they didn't get sick. And it's just like, because you hear a lot of bullshit nowadays about people just trying to sell you bullshit, like a witch doctor type of thing. Nah, dog, like he's the real freaking deal. And all of it is just positivity. He's all just like, oh no, man. Like, I can't even do his accent because it's like Icelandic. I'm not even an easy one to imitate. But people like him make me realize the value of like being in touch with your body and nature and all that shit, which is just not a popular viewpoint anymore. That's not what is viewed as the popular way to do it. Like, I've even seen people, it's the weirdest thing, like, if you work out, people will be like, they'll think you're working out just to look good. And that's the strangest thing to me, because most people are working out to feel better.
Yeah.
But, like, the people, like, there's such a disconnect with all of that. Like, in the past, you had to work out to be alive.
Yeah.
You had to go do shit. Like, you couldn't just not do shit.
I feel like, so much of it is people just don't focus upon, like, how they actually are. So many people are just kind of like, okay, I'm going through the motions of my day and stuff like that, what I mean?
And they
Well,
don't look at the what's happening under that.
Yeah, you gotta, like, be in touch, just mentally, emotionally, everything to, like, be thriving in the world, you know what I mean? And, like, you'll do so much better in stuff that you want to do when you feel that way, is the other way to look at it, too. Like,
But being self-aware is not easier. It's not easy to do,
Yeah, so it involves a lot of, conscious thought on people's part. And I feel like so much of, a lot of people today are just kind of like checking out. They're like, whatever, I'm just going to get on the phone, like scroll through shit for a couple hours, watch TV, go to bed. And like, I do that shit too, but it's like at the same time, you got to take moments to look at who you are inside and be like, all right, what do I need to do to make myself, feel better? How can I, live a better life than what I'm doing right now,
Yeah, and it's small things that make a big difference.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like, even for me, one little thing I've been doing lately is I drink 1 cup of coffee a day. I was doing 3 cups a day, and I got down to 1, and that shit is wild.
I know, I'm so addicted to caffeine, dog. I be slamming energy drinks sometimes too much, and I'm like, I gotta stop this. Like, it's gotta be bad for my head. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't be all, like, that good to be just buzzing that much off of it all the time.
The difference is, like, because your body develops a new baseline with that type of shit. So that's what's really crazy about it, is when you quit, you're gonna feel the effects of not having the caffeine for a minute.
Yeah, I've had caffeine
tough.
withdrawal headaches before, and that shit is a banger. I'm like, I get why people go straight edge sometimes from that. I'm like, oh, dog, I don't know if I can handle another thing like this.
It's a real drug, and
Dude.
people like don't even. That's like that. What we're talking about, like it's just one of those things that people don't even normally consider. Like,
And it's in so much stuff now. You know what I mean? It's like just like a natural thing that like the world has
you're right.
like, just gotten ready to just put in everything. Like just same with like processed sugar and stuff like that. Like if you fed that to a caveman, they probably fucking die. like we just eat that shit all the time. Nonstop. Like it's crazy. I don't know, man.
You're right, dude. I bet a caveman could not take much processed sugar before he'd like check out. He'd be like, "What the? Are you feeding me poison? What is this?"
Dude, if you gave him like a Twix bar, he'd probably be like the Exorcist shit going on.
Throw it away
Yeah.
and go get some grapes.
Yeah.
This shit's gross.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, you're right. Like we're probably just like corrupted. We don't even realize.
And it's like, a lot of it is just, systemic and just how grocery stores and stuff, like what they sell to people. And
Yeah.
it's just like what, the different economic climates can buy and shit. And, it's not anybody's fault aside from like, I guess you would be like, oh, it's like the man's fault or whatever.
Yeah.
But like that conscious choice of when you know that shit is bad for you and you start to make, changes to like help yourself feel better. It will help your mind feel so much better and stuff and like allow you to excel in shit that you actually are trying to work on and like do,
Yeah, and the reason the man succeeds is because we keep buying the shit.
Yeah.
Like if everybody just stopped buying this shit, they'd be like, "Oh, okay, we can't sell them this anymore." But it's just a product model that works. It's like McDonald's. Like we just keep throwing the freaking sugar and salt and everything. They're gonna keep coming back. And it's like, McDonald's ain't good for you, but you eat McDonald's every now and then, you're like, whoa, this shit's like crack.
Yeah.
Like you realize, because if you ate McDonald's all the time, you forget. And then you eat McDonald's one time, you're like, like for me, I can't even do fast food that much because I'm able to stay away from that. But yeah, like even like the fruits at the stores ain't the same. Because I got some fresh garlic once, compared to the garlic they sell at Walmart, man, that fresh garlic was good.
Yeah.
And it's like a whole different thing. And it's like all that non-GMO shit and all that makes a difference.
Yeah.
But it's beyond like what most people want to even think about. So it's hard to even, and also you only have so much time in a day. Like it's hard to focus on all these types of things when you also got 10 million other things you got to do.
Yep.
Like let's just get this shit done and then we can do the shit that's actually important. But dude, it is important. You are what you eat.
Yeah.
I mean, the more and more I grow up, the more and more I realize the truth to that statement.
Yeah,
Like, you literally
truly.
are what you eat. It ain't just a saying. Like that's for real. Like, bruh, if I go eat salad all day, I'm gonna feel like salad, baby.
I feel that, yes.
It makes a difference.
Yeah. Compared to, just like eating like chips and shit like nonstop, it'd probably be like huge difference. I feel that.
Yeah, but that's that shit behind the scenes. Like, it's real hard to get a regular person to even give a fuck. And yeah, I think it's also, I think when you have a bunch of people that are on phones all day, which even I am, it's real hard to get those people motivated because they get that quick dopamine release from their phone. They don't need to do all this work for shit.
Yeah, they get bombarded with stuff nonstop that can make them feel good. So it's like, you just want to keep doing that. And then when you take it away, you're like, oh shit, why don't I feel this like nonstop anymore? You know what I mean? Like,
I gotta go on my phone. I gotta go pick it up.
I mean, I feel like everybody though could get back to that point where they, are able to, basically just entertain themselves. I feel like that's just like, you got to do it to a certain point and then also be able to understand when you need, more out of it as well.
I think there's an essential nature to boredom. I think boredom is very important in a way that people don't realize. Like, you have to be bored sometimes. You have to experience that to know what it's like to not be bored.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad for people who have fucking, like, they enter adulthood with children because they'll never know what it's like to be bored.
They're just doing stuff nonstop. Yeah.
They don't even realize, like, you are trapped. Like, I mean, I know that you were stuck in this situation now, but like, man, like, you don't even know. Like, because you need to just be away from things every now and then. Like, I mean, I'm not saying get away from your kids. I'm just saying, like, bruh, like, that's why meditation exists, for example. Like, it's not even just being, finding your center and all that shit. It's literally just not getting any other stimulation for like 10, 15 minutes and just being with yourself. People have to know how to do that.
Yeah, you got to reset sometimes.
Yeah. And that's not, I feel like it's increasingly popular, I suppose. Maybe. But I mean, I don't know if it's popular because it's just a fun thing to say you do. Because I don't know, like, how much people actually give a shit.
Yeah, like how much people are looking in themselves, actually.
Yeah.
I would hope it's, like, the optimist in me would want it to be that they're doing it for, like, the right reason to kind of, like, better themselves. But
we're artists, though. This is what we do.
Yeah.
We look into ourselves and then we make songs and shit. So, like, to us, it's like we want people to do that. But I just don't know if that's, like, the general consensus or if we're just, like, that's that fucking, like, that feminine energy I'm talking about. Like, that's just us being artists. And we just want people to fucking, be open-minded and shit. Like, no, everybody just fucking, we might just be hippies.
I feel like it goes back to, like, not trying to say everything as directly as possible, too. Like, when you're crafting something, you want to have it be your own, like, authentic voice and, like, but also, like, specifically you. So, like, you'll put more effort into the way that you're, like, building stuff. And when people, sit and, like, look at themselves inside and kind of get a better vibe of, like, what they want out of, life, they'll have more positive energy to put towards that than if they're just kind of going through shit nonstop. Like, all right, got to get through today, got to get through tomorrow. Oh, it's the weekend, got to get through, stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think perception is everything. That is another important value to live by. I think that, you cannot undervalue like it's if you wake up and you have a shitty morning, you're going to have more of a shitty day because you fucked the whole thing up from the start.
Yep.
Like, that actually matters. It changes the whole way things go. But you do have the choice in your perception to let go of that and just let your day be your day.
Yeah.
It's like something that you don't have to hold on to that negative energy from the morning, but it's very hard to do that. But you are in control. It's just not, it's an
active choice. Like, sometimes your body won't do it on its own. Like, you have to be like, I'm not going to think negatively about this right now. Like, I can't do that to myself. It's going to continuously bring me down about shit.
But that's an actual choice. You're right. It's not something that just naturally happens. Like, if you woke up and you fucking got out of bed and you stubbed your toe immediately, first thing you did that day is stub your toe bad. Okay, like, now you're, like, limping around for an hour. Like, okay, that's going to fuck with things a little bit. But you have to let go of that stubbed toe if you want to have a good day. Like, it's as simple as that could fuck up a whole day because it's like your morning is that formative. That's why I use it as an example. But just anything in general. I mean, you go through a traumatic experience, for example. You got to learn how to let that
You got to know how to process it. Yeah, so many people will just sit on, like, the worst possible shit that can happen to them. And it's like, there's healthy ways to move past probably most anything in life. Like, there's some, really, really terrible shit out there that happens that I could never be like, yo, let that shit go. You know what I mean? To a certain point. But for a lot of it,
gets pretty bad.
Like, time just continues on. You know what I mean? And you're going to get further and further away from whatever bad event happened to you. So it's like you have to learn how to move away from it. And you can't just go back to it over and over inside your head and, like, just make the rest of your life just as bad as that almost.
Yeah, because you can't live in that forever.
Yeah.
It's just hard, because, I mean, I get it. Like, I can see how you'd get, it's like a thought loop, it's fucking always goes back to this one thing. But at the same time, you can't, time does go on, no matter what it is, too. I mean, that's the unfortunate truth of anything like that, is that, you can... especially in the immediate aftermath of something that's shitty in your life, it really does give you the sense of, like, this is forever now. Like, it's always going to be this way. Shit's always going to be bad, and that's just how it goes. Unless you're, like, somebody who has relentless optimism in every situation. Like, usually, like, fucking say, like, your dad dies or something. Something, we're talking, like, bad. But anything can be traumatic, honestly. It doesn't have to be that dramatic.
Yeah.
You get that sense. And especially as somebody who has, like, a depressive the tendencies. That type of person's going to experience that way more than somebody else because they're already kind of in that headspace.
You almost like look for it, I feel. Like sometimes like I'll be like if I'm having a bad day and stuff, I'm like everything is going wrong. And like if I take a step back later, I'm like, okay, really it's not that, crazy. But in the moment, it's hard to be like actively aware that it's not actually as bad as it seems to you because you're already, feeling down. You're like, okay, this is gonna throw my whole fucking day off. This is gonna throw my whole week off. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna think about this till like this event happens or like passes by and shit. But it's crazy. I don't know. The human mind is insane. The amount of width in thought that you can just bounce around between people is nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I heard somebody say once that the truth is not here and it's not there. It's in the middle. And that is a great way to look at it because, it's in between our thoughts is where the truth is. Like neither I am right or you are right. It's the middle that's true because
there is no objective truth. Yeah. Like you can't like define truth as a single thing because it means different things to every single person. Like, there's things that you could be like, this is a scientific fact. But at the same time, there's like other aspects of life that it's like this can't be true for everybody because they don't experience it the same way as you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I like just even going back to like the sense of like, for like example, like color and shit. Like I see this, like this is blue. Other people might see that shit and they're like, that's blue. But to them, they perceive it as something completely different from what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? And it's still like it's blue. It is like that idea, that concept. That's how they've defined it their whole life. But it's not the same way as like how I would perceive it. And both of them would be this, they're true in a sense.
See, the only problem I have with that theory, because I love what you're saying, but it's like, what if there's a bomb in a room and there's 5 people in the room and none of us agree that there's a bomb in the room and then the bomb goes off? Was it objectively true that there was a bomb in the room? Was that the objective truth and we were all wrong? Or... You know what I'm saying? Like, the bomb's gonna go off. And if we all believe the bomb's not gonna go off because that's our reality, and we believe that, but we were wrong, and the bomb went off.
Yeah.
So what was the truth?
That is, interesting.
So that one fucks me up. Because, like, I do agree that, like, reality is entirely subjective, and the objective reality can't exist if we all can have our own truths like that. But what if there's a bomb and the bomb goes off?
Well, there's probably, I mean, in that sense, there's just stuff outside of like the human experience that is affecting it. You know what I mean? Like there's some things like I could not go into space without a spacesuit. I would die.
Yeah.
Like, that's like just beyond the power of humans. Like that Wim Hof guy, he would not be able to go into space. He would die. Like
he can't breathe his way out of that one.
He could be like, look, I have superhuman powers, but at a certain level, like anything is beyond human, ability to do.
I want to see him do it now.
It'd be crazy. He could only do it once, but it would be cool.
Ride out in Elon Musk's car. He drives out into space. I'll just see how it goes. Like, but yeah, that's okay. That's a well. Also, it's like the say like we can't perceive the way that all of those little things when we're talking to someone in person. Like even smell is an indicator that we don't even normally think about. Like if somebody like just, it's like, how they do those tests where like, do people love each other because of certain smells?
Yeah.
There's like some evidence to that. I'm sure there is. Like, I'm sure smell actually matters a lot more than we give credit to, just in terms of like, our general perception of what's happening around us. It's like the same way color affects everything. When you watch a movie, things are a certain color for a certain reason because you're supposed to feel a certain way. The Matrix is green for a reason. Yeah, so... Well,
it's like, other animals and stuff have other senses that are heightened. Like a dog's sense of smell is like crazy times better than ours, but their eyesight is worse. So like we see better than them, so we don't need to smell as much maybe, but like all that stuff does still impact our, how we perceive everything.
I see, yeah. Or like how dogs and animals can sense like hurricanes and shit before they're gonna happen. Like
that is crazy. I mean, that's some ghost level shit, to be real. I don't know how they got that like ESP.
But it's because it's like what we were talking about with the mountain people, man. It's like they never lost touch with that like we did. I really think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like they pick up on that shit. Like they hear those vibrations and they know, oh shit, tsunami's coming. Let's get out of here. Whereas humans, we're just fucking caught up in all our stupid human shit. We ain't in touch with our surroundings like they are. And I think that's a big thing. That's why you'll see dogs do wild ass shit. I mean, there's one thing that also points to that for me where it's, I don't know, I'll say there's someone I know that's had psychedelic experiences, and around his pet, he would like always, his pet would, every time, it would act funny. Like, not like...
They know.
Yeah.
Like, they can pick up on it.
But it's almost like the pet's on it or something. Like, the pet's acting weird.
Just imagine the energy.
Yeah, like, weird energy. Like, just, like, looking at you, like, crazy, and then going over there and, like, itching in a funny way. Like, I don't know if they're picking up on you're not acting normal, or if it's, like, something happening in the atmosphere that's just not
I don't know. I mean, that's, like... We're rationale based, and like most animals are probably instinct based. So like they have to be more in tune with the environment to just survive better. I feel like.
Yeah. So to them, it's like, whoa, are you dying?
Yeah, exactly. It's like if I don't solve this problem right now, like this is the end of my existence as a being. Like I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Like when you leave, they ain't know if you're coming back or not.
I know, yeah.
Are you coming back or not? Because I ain't got you don't speak my language, so.
Yeah, you left me one bowl of food, so I'm hoping you'll be back.
There's a reason I didn't eat this whole bowl yet.
Yeah.
I was saving it in case you never came back. Yeah. They really do think that way, too.
They gotta, yeah.
It's always survival instinct. Wow, that's probably part of it. And see, this is that collaboration thing I'm talking about. Because I would have never came to that conclusion by myself.
Unlike humans, we already have so many, like, worldly comforts that it's like we're not always focused on survival. That's like the whole hierarchy of needs and stuff like that. Like, when you don't have to worry about that, you can start, looking at, like, self-actualization or whatever.
That's a fucking...
But like a dog is like, man, I gotta eat. I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta sleep. I gotta not die. You know what I mean? So...
Constantly.
Yeah, dogs never like, I gotta paint, man. Like, I'm feeling kind of strange today. I gotta go, like, paint some stuff or, like, scratch up a tree in a certain way. I mean,
elephants only do that when you make them. They make elephants paint sometimes, but only when you make them. They don't do it on their own.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no animal paints on their own. That's a great point. It's the hierarchy of needs. That was smart. Oh,
thanks, man.
Yeah, big brain stuff right there.
Mega mind shit.
Because, that's really what it is. It's that fucking hierarchy of needs. At a certain point, you're allowed the leisure of thinking about stupid things like making art.
Yeah.
You just can't do that when you're thinking about, how am I going to be alive today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those bush people, I mean, they got the perfect balance of it. Because, like, they have the ability where they could be like, I want to go do this, but, they also are like, I'm in the wilderness, like, I can't die, so...
They're at least like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to climb a tree.
Yeah.
But while I'm climbing a tree, I'm going to get dinner.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that possum.
That's a life right there. That's a life that I would like to lead. I'll tell you. Like, I mean...
It'd be fun to try out for a while, at least. At the very least.
Yeah. But see, I'm so stupid that I'm like, I should bring a camera with me and document it.
Survivor Man up in it.
Like, no, that's my civilized brain talking. I just got to go out there on my own. Have some fun. Leave it to myself.
Yeah, because, I mean, when you got a camera on you, you act different. You know what I mean? Like, you got to, it's just inherently, when people know they're being watched, they're not going to act the same as, like, if it's just them. And then it's even if you're the person, like, filming yourself, like, you're still going to act different than how you normally would, I feel.
Well, that's it. Oh, that's true. And would a caveman ever do that?
No.
The caveman doesn't even know what the fucking camera is.
Yeah, he'd be like, fuck this, smash it with his little hammer.
Break it.
Yeah.
I can't eat this. Is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it going to kill me? What is this?
Eating the battery and shit.
Yeah. Like, I mean, they'd be like, this is some kind of witchcraft device. I don't know what the fuck this thing is. Whoa, that's me? Delete.
Yeah, no way. Stole my soul.
Yeah. They would hate that thing. So, point being, unnatural. If I'm going out there, none of that. None of that. I can't have none of that unnatural, civilized energy of me acting different because of so-and-so. No. It's me in the woods.
Yeah.
But, Chris McCandless did that, and how'd he turn out? Not
very good. Yeah.
And his last quote was, at least that thing that he wrote down, happiness is not real unless shared. And that shit blows my mind.
Yeah, he didn't want to be isolated, I guess, in his last couple moments. Probably realized he's like, shit, I wish I was still with my family.
Dude, it's just like fucking, for one, that's tragic as hell. I mean, that's the last thing he said to the world. Because that's what he had to leave behind, is like, shit, like, I was wrong.
I died to learn this for you, basically. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to make the same mistake as me. Get out here and, like, really abandon everything to the point where you die.
That's kind of what I'm describing, though. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it would actually be the right thing to just head out into the wilderness and pull a Chris McCandless, because you don't want to be by yourself. It's almost like a fucking catch-22. Like, there's not a good choice.
Yeah.
You know, you have to stay with people.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody needs human interaction to a certain extent so they don't just go batshit crazy. You know what I mean? Like, if you're out there by yourself long enough, you would just lose probably most sense of reality.
Yeah.
But I guess you would get back to that primal essence of, like, I got to just live, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, but the problem is, that's just, you'd have to go to a society where that's how they live. That'd be the only proper way to do it, because otherwise you're by yourself, and like, that can only go on so long. And you know, you might not have the fucking Chris McCandless situation where you get stuck, because that was his thing, is he just literally got stuck for the winter. He couldn't leave.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, it's just like, you know, you need people. You cannot just get away from people altogether. I mean, as attractive as that sounds, and you know what? Now more than ever, I think that's more clear to people with, you know, the way that isolation has been over the last 2 years. People have felt more and more stuck inside of a screen than ever. And I think that really kind of wakes people up to, like, the sense that, like, damn, dude, like, I don't like this.
Yeah, you start to appreciate when you're with people more, I feel.
Yeah.
Than, like, when, like, sometimes you would just used to be with people and everybody would just be, like, sitting staring at their phones, but just, like, together and shit. I feel like, at least in my case, you know, I do stuff more now with people. Like, if we're going to get together, we're going to, like, make a day out of it and, like, you know, make it worth it and make some memories and shit.
Yeah, and like, you know, that's just a strange thing to me when I think about it too, because I remember when I was a kid, and I had a Nokia until fucking, like, I think 9th or 10th grade, and I had like a big ass tablet, and then I had a phone. Like, I did not start with the phone. I dealt with shit along the way before I even got to have the phone.
Yeah.
And that was like because my mom wasn't gonna get me a smartphone. But also, like, I remember, like, specifically that, like, when it came to, like, I was never, because phones weren't like what they are now. So, like, when I was a kid, I remember, like, my mom would fucking never, like, I didn't get a phone, and no one around me really used phones, and that was just kind of cool. It was kind of chill. It was doing shit like a kid would do.
Yeah.
And, like, nowadays, if I go out to eat with, like, somebody in my, like, my mom, my family, she'll be on her phone. And I remember she didn't give me a phone. So it just makes me think, like, damn, dude, like, reality has shifted.
Yeah.
Like, it's taken somebody like her who just didn't even give a fuck about that type of thing and didn't want to have her kid have that type of thing to, like, everybody's doing it, so who cares? And that's how most people are. Like, I think a lot of people who were, like, 5 or 10 years ago, they wouldn't have done it. Now are like, well, I gotta stay in touch with everybody. I wanna... Fucking everybody's on Facebook. I guess I'll have a Facebook.
Yeah.
It's like that type of thing. And it sucks you in. And that the unfortunate part is the amount of time you waste, I think.
Yeah. And like,
you miss a lot.
As an artist too, to a certain extent, it's like, as an artist, you feel like you almost need it just so you can, like, promote your stuff as well. Cause like I just make stuff for myself, you know what I mean? But, like, at the same time, I want people to hear it. I want them to, you know, listen to it and see if they like it. But I can only do that by promoting it, and it's like, it feels just so weird to be like, yo, like, go check me out, go look at this. You know, I want people to hear this, but at the same time, it's like, I want them to just hear it and, like, know that they're meant to hear it. I don't want it to just be some shit that is, like, I'm always like, oh, like, I put out a new song, blah, 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 you know?
Yeah, it's hard to, what is the right way to do it, though? Is there a right way?
I don't think there is. I don't know. I used to go so ham trying to promote songs, and now it's like I'll just drop shit with no promo sometimes and just leave it on my SoundCloud. And I'm like, if people find it and hear it, it's cool. I'll send it to a couple of my friends that I know would probably want to hear it, and, like, if they share it with people, I'm cool with it. But I don't know. I never, like, you know, I've been doing this shit, like, almost 10 years and never really made money off of it. So I was like, I just put it out to put it out, and I'm like, I hope people find it and hear it and, like, fuck with it just because it exists. You know, I love finding like a random tiny band or like some, you know, super unknown artist that only has a couple streams on it, and you hear it and you're like, this is unreal. Like, this person has all this talent and like nobody knows about it. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it, is that you need to actually have like this relentless determination, honestly, especially now so more than ever, when it comes to like, because I mean, a lot of it is promotion, but it's also like, you know, it really takes one song. Like, all it takes is the right song and the right person to find it and the right algorithm to find it, whatever it is. Like, it really is that. I mean, TikTok, is as fucking stupid of a platform as it is, it provides such an opportunity. Yeah. And, you know, it's more than anything else, 100%. Like, you can do good shit on YouTube, but, you know, there's caveats to that. Same thing with, like, especially Facebook and Instagram. Instagram used to be better than Facebook, and now they're basically the same.
They're owned by the same company now, right? So it's, like, basically probably all running off the same thing.
That's probably why. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Fucking Facebook bought it and just probably ruined it.
No, like, if stuff gets shared over a trend, it can blow up so fast. I mean, I remember, like, Lil Yachty got super big, like, so fast, saw stuff like that. I mean, Lil Nas X, you know, just blowing up off of social media is, like, I mean, it's a viable possibility for tons of people these days. And, like, just if they know how to work it, and it's, like, a whole nother tool, you know what I mean, that is, like, within somebody's arsenal that they have, you know, they got to use it in the way that's analogous to their own stuff to build it up, and like not just be like, hey, this is on here now, you know, do what you will with it. A lot of time you can take it and spin it, and like people will hear it in a certain way if you can market it directly to that social media crowd.
Yeah, it's making it, it's like translating it to that platform. That's the hard part, because it's like what you're saying when it comes to like, you like just finding something that's good. It's like giving somebody just that, like giving them the sense of just finding your good song. Yeah. Not like, yo, listen to my song, I'm a rapper, blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't want to see that TikTok. You just want to see the music video of the song. Yeah. You're like, oh, what is this? Yep. But it's getting that in front of the right people. That's the tough part. Yeah. Yep. Because I mean, like, I truly do think that, like, it's like what I was saying to you earlier, too. There's so many talented people that it's almost overwhelming. Like, it's not like there's some talented people and a bunch of mediocre people. There's so many talented people and some mediocre people. And so, like, they're everywhere, all these talented people. It's just none of them know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to putting their shit in front of the right people. Yeah. And that's okay. That's most of us. It's just difficult. And so it's, you know, that's the tough part, is that, you know, you have to figure out how to businessman finagle this thing to make it the right thing, which is almost beyond your interests because you don't even care about all that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, bro, I don't want to have to worry about prepping a song for all this promo stuff. I'm like, I just want to make it. I want to put it out, and I want to, like, you know, be able to just play it back. Like, I'm not ever like behind stuff like, I'm going to go crazy with all this promo and shit. Like, I probably should in a certain sense. Like, I feel like, you know, it would probably help. But
that's a sentence like, I don't think I've ever said.
What? Just
I'm going to go so crazy with this promo.
Yeah, I guess the one thing is, like, I don't have the time. Just, like, working in school, I don't want to dedicate energy to, like, doing just, you know, promo stuff. That
it's exhausting.
I feel like is not going to get me anywhere in the long run. You know what I mean? Like, it might get that song some more plays, but then, like, when I drop another one, like, are people going to come back and, like, you know, check it out? I don't know. So I'm like, I would rather just focus on making, like, insane music and just, you know, drop that shit and have it just speak for itself.
Yeah, because it's the genuine connections that you're making that matter. Like, it's when somebody hears that song that you dropped and they're like, yo, that shit was awesome to me. Yeah. Like, that meant something to me, and that made me want to see what else you do. Yeah. That's what really changes people's minds. Like, when they feel like they just found somebody or something, you know, and that's why I think, like, in-person interactions are obviously the best you can get. Like, if you're going around places and getting that in-person thing, that's where you're going to get a lot of those real fans from.
Like meeting other artists at a show, you know, talking to them in the crowd and stuff after their set, especially if they killed it. Like, I always try to go up to people and tell them that they did a great job, just because, like, I know how good that feels to me when somebody comes up to me and tells me I did a good job on, you know, performing some shit. So, like, especially if, you know, I go see a local artist and they do crazy, you know, just doing work up there, I'm like, I gotta let them know they killed that. Because, like, you never know when people get in their own head. They might be like, oh, man, I messed this up, but like, you know, that little boost of confidence can help people. They might be like, all right, I'm inspired to, you know, check your stuff out now. They might like it. Like, you never know.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, you never know. You literally don't know, like, until it's happened. You know, you could, the other thing I was saying earlier was that, you know, as when you're looking at your own actions or your own things that you make, you often will just downplay it because it's your own shit. Like, so, you know, you're thinking, oh, well, if I go talk to this dude, like, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But to that dude, that might have been like, oh, shit, like, yo, that guy's cool. Like, I can't believe he came and talked to me. Like, you don't even realize any of that because that's all. He's not even going to tell you none of that.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. And he probably would never tell you that. Just like, you know, all those little things that result from you making any choice at all. Like, it all matters.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, going out and making those connections and just talking to people makes such a tremendous difference, like, beyond comprehension, because those are things you wouldn't even expect to come up later, you know? It's like little things. Like, you know, I mean, like, even with your first with meeting Danny, you never would have thought through meeting Danny you'd meet Gabe, and so things like that, like, that's how you met Gabe. And how else would you have met Gabe? Who knows?
Yeah, and like, I was just doing, you know, I had just been doing solo stuff and like working with producers and stuff before that, and like, yeah, through meeting them, I feel like it kind of revitalized me and what I was doing. And I was like, damn, like, I'm really like meeting people that are on like a really talented level. I'm like, if I want to work with them and I want to make sure that they want to work with me, you know, I'm like, I got to keep up and like make sure I'm doing stuff that is like beyond what I think I can do, in a sense.
Yeah, which is interesting just because to them, that's probably never even going to occur to them unless you said that, you know? Like, they're just doing shit. They're just making shit.
It's like
they don't
realize
realize
going for it.
But they don't realize that they matter to you in that way, you know? Like, they're just like, oh, shit,
hope they do now, damn, yeah. I would hope so. I mean, I love their shit. Every time, like, anybody from around here puts music out, I try to check it out just because I'm always, like, you know, throw them a couple of streams anyways, but at the same time, like, you might hear some shit that you're like, man, this really resonates with me because, like, you know, we're kind of all in the same, you know, area, environment and shit coming up around here. Like, people have different, you know, takes and aspects on stuff that I might not ever have thought to look into myself.
Yeah, I think that there are a couple artists that I continually praise because I just cannot believe their output. Like, I mean, there's some people that I'll find out and they'll be like, they'll just blow my mind, like the level of professionalism that's going into it. There's a group called Phased, PHZD. Have you ever heard of them? Mm-mm. They are like, they don't put out a ton of music, but the music they do put out is always super duper on point. It's always a vibe. I think one of the dudes produces the beats, the other guy's the rapper, and it's just two guys. I saw their first show ever live, and I actually got my 60 Seconds interview with them that day, so I do have an interview with them. But, I mean, that was their first show, and it seemed like they'd been performing for fucking years.
Nice.
Like, they had it all down. Like the whole stage, I guess the aura of the whole event. Like, it felt like it was all in the right place. And that's what a good performer does, is they lead the room in that direction. It was like they knew what they were doing. And when I saw that, I immediately went and checked out all their tracks. Like, I had already kind of looked into it before, but then that convinced me. I was like, yo.
Like, so I gotta listen,
Yeah, I gotta hear this. I go in and I listen to their music, and I'm blown away. And, like, they're just one group in Flint.
Yeah.
And, like, to me, they should be way bigger than they are. And every time they put something out, I'm like, oh, shit, here it comes. Let's see what this is. And it's a whole different thing than all the other shit they put out because they're that good.
Yeah.
But, like, that's just a drop in the bucket. And so, yeah, it's really, it's mind-boggling when you go and you try to, like, actually dive into each different person around here because, like, once you start really getting into it, you'll find some people that are really, really good. Vega is another one that's around here that he recently started going around. Now he's like, I think he's chilling in California right now.
Okay.
But Vega, all caps, he did this album where he was super into video games. So, like, the whole thing has got, like, this video game theme about it. And, like, he's got, like, the Vega, like at the
yeah.
beginning of his music videos, all this kind of stuff. And he was telling me I don't know if I'm allowed to even say this, but who cares, I guess. But he told me something about how he wanted to do a blue album and a red album like Pokemon. And I thought, dude, this is the nerdiest shit I've ever heard a rapper say. And I respected it so much. Like he was really dedicated to this video game theme.
Dude, I mean, if you're authentic with it, you can really do anything. Like especially with rap, dog. Like, I mean, if you ever look at like old Gucci Mane album covers or like old Waka Flocka album covers where they're like photoshopped onto Freddy Krueger's head and shit, I'm like, they're really running with this horror theme for like a whole mixtape, and it is like they just photoshopped like just the most bullshit together. But I'm like, if you got the fucking vision behind it and you're willing to be like, this is my fucking shit, you know, people will notice it and they'll be like, all right, I can respect that.
Yeah. And to me, that's hilarious. Like that example is so funny. Like, dude, that takes a level of bravery to just say, yep, this is my album.
I know, especially I feel like maybe there's like a charm in it that like there's probably like some tongue-in-cheek level to it. You know what I mean? Where you're like, okay, it kind of is funny because it's sloppy almost, but like, I don't know. It's interesting.
I love it. You know, it's like, I mean, in a way, it's like nowadays, I feel like that'd be better received than even back then. Because we're talking like what? That was like late 2000s.
2010, 2011-ish, stuff
back
like that.
Back then, now, it's like if you do shitty album art on purpose, people are like, ooh, cool, art.
Yeah, that is true.
But I feel like back then you couldn't really do that. Back then, if you release some shitty album art, they're like, yo, this feels like it was made in like some back alley somewhere. Yeah. Like, you spliced your face on here.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would work out as well. I like the camp of it. I mean, that's what I like about it. I like that it's like cheesy. That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Like, it adds to the charm of it, I feel, in some aspects, because you're like, hell yeah, like this dude is really just like Jason Mask, like, you know, photoshopped on the side of the head like some ski goggles or some shit.
I hope the next Kendrick album is that. I hope it's like Kendrick, but it's a Santa Coca-Cola ad with Kendrick's face on it.
That would be pretty good, yeah.
Something ridiculous.
I mean, people would probably just respect the shit out of it anyways, because like, he puts it out, and it's like, what are you going to do? Be like, you know, this is your first album in years, and it's, you know, Santa, like, they're not going to care. They're like, yeah, I'll give us the music, like, let's get to it. And they would just people would just meme it at this point, too. Where it's like, sometimes, you know, people can blow up off a meme at the same time. Like, you know, it's always like some sort of, you know, getting eyes on it.
I feel like that's kind of what the damn album cover was in a way. He was kind of like, well, I'm not gonna top To Pimp a Butterfly.
Yeah,
so.
That was just so conceptually heavy that it's like, what do you do? Like, you can't like up that immediately afterwards. So it's like they just went a completely different direction. You know, just stark photo of him on it, but it still worked because it was like. That was kind of like almost more back to just like roots of him just like rapping. You know, it wasn't as like, you know, like largely produced as To Pimp a Butterfly and like even Good Kid and stuff, you know, where like thematically where they have all these skits and stuff running between everything.
I feel like it also, one thing that Kendrick does really well, more than most artists I can even think of, is it's almost similar to what Kanye does, where he'll take the sound that is popular in hip-hop and kind of flip it in his own way and then change how hip-hop sounds for a little bit because people like are so affected by what he did. Like, To Pimp a Butterfly kind of brought that whole jazzy thing into popularity.
Yeah, it definitely brought it back around, yeah.
Yeah, and he did it so well. Same thing with, like, Good Kid, Mad City. After Good Kid, Mad City, you saw a couple other rappers kind of come out with shit that was, like, real West Coasty type hip-hop. And then Damn was, like, it was taking that trap thing that was going on and just doing a Kendrick version of trap, which, for one, is exactly what he needed to do at the time. Because, that's how do you follow? Like, because even, like, we were saying conceptually of the album cover, but even just conceptually of what To Pimp a Butterfly represents. How do you follow that?
Yeah.
And so, a trap album was really the way to go. And you're right, it represents that. The cover art does in a really nice way because it is a back to the roots, simpler type thing rather than like, because, man, To Pimp a Butterfly is one of the top albums for me. It's so good.
It is good stuff.
Oh, ain't nothing like that. It's just so good. Like, it's, Oh, I really like that. I mean, I'm the same as you. I like when rap's not just rap. I like when rap feels like it's taking something else and incorporating that in a way that's unique to itself. Like we shouldn't be looking at music as a genre to begin with. Like we should be looking at it as, you know, just a wave. Like it's something that is happening and you're trying to represent that in the most cohesive way. It doesn't have to be this or that.
Yeah.
That's why it's hard to define what genre your music is, because you're not thinking about it as a certain genre when you're making it.
And like I feel like with rap too, you are afforded the ability to do so many different kinds of genre within it, and it still can be considered like rap or hip hop. You know what I mean? Because like every producer is gonna have their own way of like making stuff sound. Some people are really like, you know, horrorcore, or like some people are really into like down south or like, you know, West Coast or East Coast or anything like that, you know. And then along with that, like within any of those spectrums of sound, there's all the emotions that you can try to bring out utilizing any of those instruments. So you can have like angry songs within the same genre, you know, happy stuff, laid back, any of that. But it's like, and then when you add a whole nother person doing vocals on top of it, who is like basically, you know, it's layered, you know, poetry in a sense, because it's like all, you know, everything means something else. So when you have that on top of all this like emotion that's being brought out of the music, you know, it just affords for so much like creativity for artists. Like I don't know, it's so nuts to me. Like just like some of the stuff that people can make, and it still sounds like distinctively them. Like I feel like I could never put a genre on anything just because I do like multiple different genres. I would have to be like, I'm a rapper, I guess. You know what I mean? Like in a sense, like I'm a vocalist. Like I don't really sing, but I don't really try to do too many of the same kind of rap song. You know, I never try to make something that sounds exactly like what I made before or anything like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's hard to even approach something that way. Like I don't know how people do it. Like, oh, I'm gonna make a song that sounds like this. Like I'm never really going into it like that. I'm always going into it like I'll hear a beat and I'll be like, okay, and then I'll just start like, okay, something comes out. Like that's, to me, that's what it is. And it's really hard for me to even plot it out so much. Like it's almost that spontaneous moment by moment thing to me that is the process.
So many songs I have wrote in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I've just never, I write it out and I look at it, I'm like, this is it. Like I don't need to go back and change any of it. And then it's just a matter of recording it. But there's other ones, you know, that I'll wait on for a little while. But like a lot of the time, I feel like my favorite stuff is ones that like you start it and you do it almost all in one thought, and it's, you know, you're done and you're like, that was it. That's like the most direct line, pen to paper, almost, you know.
Well, and you know, the best writing advice I could give to anybody is just put it down. Don't overthink it. Just put it down and keep going. Because the longer you sit on that one part, the less you know, like just follow that thread.
Yeah.
You know, because you can always go back and change it, but that a lot of the time for me, that never happens. Like I don't know about other people, but if I write a song, I can write that whole thing right there, and I'll think that in my brain, like, okay, I'll just write all this out. I'll just commit to it, and maybe I'll change it later. Rarely ever do I change it later, because to me, it's always just that was what it was. Like I put it right there. And there it is.
Yeah.
And you know, it should take 5 minutes. Honestly, it shouldn't take a bunch of time. Like if you're sitting there and you're like harping over a line, unless you're trying to do some like 10-syllable rhyme scheme, something crazy, like you really don't need to be putting that much thought into it. Like unless you're doing something wildly conceptual, it should be because as a listener, most people don't even want something super dense. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're like MF Doom, go ahead and spend an hour on your verse.
Yeah.
But like,
I feel like
not everybody's MF Doom.
Yeah. It's the biggest thing I feel like with writing. Yeah, it's just like you just want to get the clearest idea of what you're trying to say. And for me, and like it sounds like for you at the very least, you know, it's like if you can do it and just put it all out there, it's going to be more direct than if you sit and try to really be like, I got to make this, you know, say this aspect of like what I'm trying to get across. Like, I don't know. Usually if you just kind of go with the thought and can like build the rhymes into it, it'll just come out nice. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny too, where like if you write a song and you don't think about it, and then you have somebody who does think about it and they'll look at what you wrote, they'll be like, yo, you did like a triple syllable thing and you jumped over the line here, and you're like, Yeah, I guess.
I was just doing it to make it fit. Yeah, like that's my biggest thing. I'm like, I have no idea like about any of that. I'm just like, I want it to sound cool, and then I'm like, if I can't make it fit, I usually have to, like fuck with how I'm delivering it, which is like always a pain. Sometimes, like,
It can also be fun though. That can be fun.
It can be, yeah.
Because like,
cool to play with different voices and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And that's like a perk of recording by yourself. I tell you. Because you're never worried about, if I pop this voice out, I'm like, I'll sound stupid.
Yep.
Because, dude, especially when I do my high pitch shit, I go straight into Elmo voice. I'll be singing like this, like just like that. And that's, to me, that's perfect. But if I pulled that in the studio, people would be like, okay, all right.
But yeah, I mean,
they wouldn't have the faith that I have.
It's like how, like, it would work. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, I know how I want it to sound when I'm done mixing it and stuff. So you're able to do that. But like, if you're doing it with other people, they're gonna hear that, and they're just gonna hear you record it like that, and be like,
like, yo, this motherfucker doing Elmo right now.
Be like, yo, give me 10 minutes, let me fuck with it. You guys will not be making that face. Yep.
But it's hard. It's hard to do that. Unless you're by yourself, you get that freedom. But yeah, there's some shit that you could, and that's also to speak to the flexibility of hip hop too, because hip hop's a flexible genre. You can just do voices and all this type of stuff, like conceptual songs that you couldn't do in another genre. You couldn't pull something that conceptual with something else. Eminem did in Marshall Mathers LP2. It was called Bad Guy. Are you familiar with that song?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I think that song conceptually is just so brilliant because, like, for one, the whole album's a sequel to Marshall Mathers LP1, which is like 10, 15 years before. But it's a whole sequel to Stan where he'll scheme the whole thing out. And then the song's got this crazy-ass introspective outro that's not even part of the story. And, like, that's only something you could do if you are so, like, on top of your game that you're... Because he's not only telling a story, he's, like, building upon a concept that he built 10 years ago in a different song. Like, it really is some weird, like, meta shit going on.
It is crazy. I wish there was more hip-hop operas than, like, fucking Hamilton. Like...
Yeah. That's what I mean. It is like an opera type
There's so
thing.
much more that could be explored with that genre, like through theater and like through, just storytelling. Like that is absolutely insane to me. And like the one we got was about a president. Like, or
now
like
that's
not even a president. I don't know.
Was he?
I have no idea. He's on the money. He's on.
This is how you know we
bill,
haven't
right?
seen Hamilton.
Yeah, I think I saw the live one on Disney, but I was, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Whatever, bro. I don't get the hype.
Yeah, see?
Rap battle me, dog. Let's go, Lin.
I want to see it. Listen, Lin, I'll pay you like $20, man. Come out here. We'll do it. We'll do it for real. I'll record it with all 3 of my cameras. I'll say, too, so it's not your speed, but can you at least acknowledge the craftsmanship that goes into something like that? Like, it is kind of shitty that it's about presidents, kind of boring plot.
Oh, no, yeah.
But there's, like, when I hear some of those songs, I'm like, wow.
He did write his ass off. Like, I mean, some of the writing is nice. I just think as a concept, I'm like, it was just kind of strange.
Yeah.
I was like, kind of weird. I guess you're trying to educate people. Feel like there's a lot more that could be done with hip-hop in, like, opera or theater and stuff like that. And, no disrespect. They really, they put a lot of money into that. Those people performing that every day, they're hella talented. Like, you got to be able to do that in front of people that are paying a lot of money to go see that. And, like, if it was getting bad reviews, But...
Yeah.
They need to make, like, a Jurassic Park rap opera. Some shit with some dinosaurs and rapping would really be more, like, what I'd be interested in.
This is America.
Yeah.
Okay? We need dragons in our musical.
Yeah.
Like, for real. I want a rap musical with freaking dragons and actual Chris Pratt on stage.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Let's go.
I'll take it. And he can rap about God. I don't even care. I have fun with it. Like, honestly, I do agree with you. I think that the dinosaur example is a great one, too. I'm trying to think of, like, shit that'd be relevant and, like that would actually catch people's attention if you were to do a rap musical. Like, do the fucking Biggie Smalls documentary, but do it as a rap musical.
Yeah, like, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
Like, they could make a story, but, I mean, obviously, You
That
run
would be
into
cool.
the issue of it being like they're exploiting his life for money, but at the same time, like this man made rap music. Like this is a whole nother way to like build upon what he had laid out already. You know what I mean? And like make it like a whole complete fucking production.
Not only that, they've exploited his music for money twice now with movies.
Yeah, that is
So,
true.
I mean, and both those movies, I don't know about the second one, but the Notorious one, the first one, that wasn't very bad. It was a pretty good movie.
What was the second one?
I don't know. I think it was more recent, so I'm just going to guess it was worse.
They had I remember I went and saw that All Eyes on Me movie about Tupac a couple years ago, and it was just like it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't, you know, that man is like a once in a generation talent. Like anything that's talking about him should really try to do him justice, and it was just such a letdown. I'm like, you have all this subject matter to work with, and like, you know,
What exactly did they, what direction did they go with it?
Well, it was just like rushed through so much of his life and stuff, you know, and like just didn't focus on certain aspects. And I'm like, you know, he was like, you know, he's a philanthropist and a poet and shit. And I'm like, you know, he's got all this stuff that he's trying to teach people. And I feel like they could have made that more of a focal point, because I feel like if he was, I can't, you know, be like, if he's around today, he would know, you know, want that shit. But I'm like, if you say stuff like that, you have a reason behind saying it. I feel like he would want that message to be more of what's like the focus than just being like, yo, here's a little Tupac biography, like for a quick buck, you know?
It's funny because, like, I bet if Tupac were around when that came out, like, you know, if you look at the length of a Tupac interview, if it were up to him, that movie would probably be like 7 hours long.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Because he has so much to say.
But I mean, yeah, he was another person that, like, you know, was just eloquent with it and like knew what he was trying to get across and stuff. And like,
That's what made him such an enigma.
Yeah.
Through his music and through everything. Like, he really knew. That's what I was getting at with, you know, somebody like Gabe, like somebody like Tupac. Somebody that knows who they are, and that's why their art is the way it is.
Yeah.
Like, they're eloquent in a way that other people just aren't. Because if you even talk to that individual, they will tell you things that are just so on point.
Yeah.
Like, they just get it in a way that most people just don't. And that's, you know, Tupac was one of those people.
Yeah.
For real. Like, I mean, like, there's shit that he said fucking, 20, 25 years ago that's still, like, you look at it now and you're like, damn, he's still right.
And he's saying that shit when he's, you know, in his early 20s. Like, he didn't even get to live a full life and, like, be, you know, as well-rounded or, like, as well-versed and stuff as he potentially could have been. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So much stuff that he missed out on, and he was already, you know, knew all that shit. It's crazy.
It's no wonder that, you know, I don't know if did you know that To Pimp a Butterfly was supposed to be called To Pimp a Caterpillar?
No.
And that was because at the very end he interviews Tupac, and the acronym, if it was To Pimp a Caterpillar, would be Tupac,
yeah,
which
that's
is
cool.
crazy. Another, like, example of Kendrick's crazy conceptual fucking, like, what?
Yeah.
'Cause that just makes you rethink the whole album title now. It's like, okay. But also, that it goes to show, man, like, Tupac's, nobody can be Tupac, you know? There's a reason that rappers look to him in the way that they do.
I mean, he's still an icon compared to even people that were, like, big in, like, you know, 2003, 2005, you know, 10 years after that, when arguably there's more eyes on the genre than there would have been in the 90s. He's still who people are like, that guy was, like, the guy for this whole, you know, subset of music.
Yeah. It's just, it blows my mind that, I guess to me it speaks to the level of influence music and art can truly hold, you know, because it's so much greater than what we can comprehend. I'd say Tupac's one of the most famous people, at least in the U.S. I mean, he's got to be. You know, you learn about rap, you learn about Tupac.
Yeah, I
like
mean, there's
Biggie.
probably nobody that, if you showed them a picture of him, they wouldn't know who he was. They'd probably be like, okay, yeah, that's Tupac. Like, I know that.
There's a reason he's hiding in Cuba.
Yeah, exactly. He can't come back here. He would just get, you know, people would snitch him out.
He couldn't be anywhere in the U.S.
Yeah.
Literally, no, he couldn't go to Hawaii. They'd recognize him. They'd be like, whoa, that's Tupac. They just say it in Hawaiian. You know? They would know it's him. I mean, I really, there's a couple people throughout history that are like that, but yeah, I really, so would you say you're more of an old school or a new school kind of guy then, when it comes to rap? What do you like more?
Oh, man. Like, what I listen to?
Yeah.
I gotta say, I would probably listen to more old school stuff. I really like listening to, like, 3-6 and, like just Memphis type stuff and, like, really, like Houston shit. But, like, I like listening to new stuff, too. I was getting big into like the SoundCloud scene back in like 2013, 2014, when like all those people were like really getting big off of like Raider Clan and all that shit. Man, so I don't know. It's hard because like sometimes old school stuff is, you know, it can sound pretty dated, but at the same time, new school stuff, like I feel like a lot of people just, they mind the same creative kind of, you know, opportunities as everybody else. Like they're not really going out and making something that sounds super distinctive as opposed to like back in the day when everybody was kind of like trying to make their own wave and everything.
Because they had to.
Yeah, because like you had to. There wasn't as much stuff out there to be pulling from. Mm-hmm. And you could, you know, build your own idea off of it.
There weren't 10 million X's on SoundCloud back then.
Yeah.
That just wasn't a thing. You didn't have the dude where you listen to a song and you're like, oh, so you're just Juice WRLD.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and like, I hate to like shit on people making music because like it takes a lot of courage to make music, you know, sometimes, but
you just can't be one guy. Like everybody draws from their influences, but you have to find a way to do that where you're pulling.
If you're immediately copying somebody, it's just so weird. Like to me, it is the strangest thing.
It's like some fan art type.
Yeah,
shit.
Like it's like it doesn't feel like it's you. You're trying to make something that sounds exactly how somebody else does. Like it's just strange. Like I don't get it. I don't know. I've never been that way, I guess. So I'm like, it's hard for me to like look at something and be like, I want to make that song. I wish I could make something that sounds exactly like that. And like Logic did that shit for a little bit. He was like, you know, he was like aping Travis Scott on some shit. He was like sounding just like other people. And I'm like, this is so strange to me because you already have an established sound and like fan base and stuff. And like you could branch into this other style of music, but you're just immediately copying somebody that's already doing it.
I think that's Logic's problem when it comes to branching in other genres. He seems to always do that. Like, not even just with the trap stuff. Yeah, like, he just doesn't really... Because he's really good and really on point when it comes to his rap. Mm-hmm. Like, he's like, really
I mean, he can fucking rap. Yeah, like, I would never be like, he's a bad musician. Like, he can definitely spit. He's got some good shit, but it's just so strange.
Well, have you heard his rock stuff? It's just like...
I haven't heard too much of that, no.
It's generic, if anything. Like, that's what's the downside of it.
That's
like,
such a bummer.
Yeah, and it's Logic. So you're like, I bet this guy could do better. You know?
And I feel like in his case, too, he's always got some, you know, like, crazy concept behind stuff, like super high concept sci-fi type shit that it's like, if he's going to make a rock album, you would be like, man, this better, like, melt my face, you know? Like, this better be some, like, crazy space exploration type shit. But then if it's like, yeah, just... You know, sounds like other stuff out. Like, why would you want to listen to that? Like, you could just go listen to another musician that's already doing that and is, like, making it better. I don't know.
Like, why do I want to listen to Logic's rock album? I don't know. I'm not sure. But, like, yeah, I wish somebody like him would just approach it in that totally, like, intuitive way where he's just doing him. Because I know he's got it in him. Yeah, I think that, you know, that's the real thing when it comes to, you see, like, the Juice WRLD people who are literally just Juice WRLD. They gotta take that and make their own spin on it where they're being themselves while being Juice WRLD. Like, you know, you can't, I would say that my music, one thing I heard in an interview once is, it was Tyler Joseph of 21 Pilots, and they asked him, what are some influences that you have? And he didn't even want to disclose that information because he said, if I told you, like, people that I liked growing up and all that, you would start connecting all these dots and think my music sounds like this and this and this. And I thought, wow, like, that's interesting. But it just goes to show how everybody's a product of their influences.
Yeah, everybody takes stuff from, you know, everything they listen to. Like, there's totally been times when I've heard stuff and be like, I got to implement that kind of idea, or like that sort of delivery, or like that, you know, emotion into my stuff. You know what I mean? Or like, I like that, you know, like, I try to take some of like my lyrical concepts just from like metal and stuff. Like, I'll listen to old like power metal, like Iron Maiden and stuff, and it's just so over the top, like fantasy based, that I'm like, this would be cool to rap about. I'm like, I don't think I've heard people rap about something that's, you know, like Lord of the Rings type shit, or some real like Dungeons and Dragons type shit that's not like just nerdcore. You know what I mean? But I'm like, you can still make it like a hard ass fucking like underground song.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But you got to do it in your own way that's genuine. You can't overdo the concept. You know, you can't be like, okay, how can I do this? And then, like, slave over it. It has to come naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of why I said that thing about, like, it should take 5 minutes earlier. Because, like, you know, most of the time it should come naturally. It shouldn't be like, oh, shit, like, I don't even know how I'm going to write this. I've been sitting on this one line for 2 hours.
If you're, like, forcing it and you get unhappy while making it, it just defeats the whole purpose. And for me, at least. I'm like, why would I want to make myself miserable over a song? Like, I want to be able to listen back to it later and be like, that was fun. Like, I liked making that. This is cool to listen to. Like, if it's something that I'm, you know, spending hours and hours over, like, one little part of the recording, I'm gonna come back to it later and be like, oh my god, I remember my whole fucking day was, like, thrown off because I couldn't get this part of it, you know, or I couldn't get it to how I wanted it to sound. But I don't know. But at the same time, it's all like, you gotta take each situation as it comes. You know, some songs necessitate that, you know, hours and hours of work to get them sounding perfect. But, like, if you know that it's there and you know you can pull something, like, amazing out of it, you know, sometimes it's worth putting all that time in.
Yeah. And it's never what you think it is. Like, you know, whatever, because you, like you said, you'll hear that song and you'll remember all that, but ain't nobody else know that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, as long as you're able to push through all that bullshit and still get out a genuine good thing, in the end, that's what's important. You know, even if you did spend a shit ton of time on that song, if you can get it perfect, but it shouldn't be that way. Like, you know, I once saw Kanye, he was in a video, and he just, I'm pretty sure a lot of artists do this. And I've talked to other artists who I think are good, like, when it comes to, like, I don't want to say sonically, but, like, there's a phonetic thing that happens when you're making a song. You know, you hear the sounds often before you hear the words. Like, hear the beat, and then it'll be like, I'm literally not saying words the first time through in my brain because, like, I'm just placing the rhythm before I do anything else.
Yeah, once you get your own melody, it's so much easier to build, like, what you want to say to that because you already know how you have to say it. I feel like,
and you know what works. Like, you know what you want to hear right here.
Yep.
To your brain, what is pleasing to the ear. And, like, that, I think, is where you see a lot of really good songwriting. Like, I think it's hard to take words that you've written already and turn that into a song because you got to be real good. Like, it's different in its own way, but I think, you know.
That is, interesting. I've done that a few times where I've had something wrote with, like, no instrumental and stuff, and then, like, you come into, like, working with somebody that has instrumental, you're like, I have this that would fit to it, but then it's, like, a whole another aspect of how do you, you know, turn it to fit that? How do you mold it to fit this idea and, like, change it from what you had originally thought it was going to be?
Yeah, because often it's just not going to be exactly that.
Yeah.
It's almost like that collaboration thing again. Like, you had this thing that was purely you, and now you have to, like, fit it to this mold that's different than you. It's something foreign.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it has to work. I think, that's a really interesting thing in general. It's just, you know, I think music itself is some kind of freestyle. I mean, I think everything is a freestyle in that sense. And if you look at life that way, everything kind of opens up, you know? And everything's freestyle, everything's improv. Everything is yes and. You never say no in improv. You say yes and. And that is freestyling. That is life. If you want a satisfying performance or piece, you say yes and you keep going and you roll with all that shit because that's the only possible way you're going to come out with something that is, like, creatively satisfying in the end. Like you said, like, you had fun with it. Like, you have to allow for that openness because otherwise you're going to trap yourself in all that shit. Like, you can easily second guess anything. And I'm talking about art, but it really applies to everything in life ever, any decision you ever make.
Yeah.
You could sit there and you could be like, yeah, but this and this and this. Nah, but it's a yes and. Like, if I do this, what happens? And just roll with that shit. And so I think that when it comes to writing music that way or making art that way, it's almost like it teaches you something about life. It allows you to approach other things in a more open way where, you know, I think that's why people who you say or who we find that have to create because you couldn't see them doing anything else. I think that's why you see that because to them, like, that is the way of living. That's how it's done. Like, that's how I learn from doing this in a way that I can't even fully explain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think creating art is a profound thing that more people should do. I think that if there's anything I want people to take away from this podcast, if there's any life lesson I want to close this with, to give them something to take home, it's this, boys and girls. Please, 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 when you think about all the things you like in life, you think about all the things you enjoy, all the things you get in the car and you turn on the songs, what is it that's happening there? Why do you like that? What's going on? Isn't that so freaking weird, y'all? And then think about, well, when they made that song, that didn't exist before they made that song, and then they made that song, and then it made your life. How does that work? And you can do that too, little boys and girls. You can go make somebody's life.
You gotta just work on it, man. You just gotta create.
Yeah.
You put it out there, it can change the whole world, for real. I mean, that sounds corny, but, like, it really can. It's crazy.
It really can. It can in a way that again, you would never even comprehend until it's happening. I mean, Butterfly Effect, Ashton Kutcher.
Yes.
Yeah. That movie is sick.
That's how it is. Like, you could drop something, you can make something and put it out, and somebody sees it and inspires them to do stuff, Inspires them to follow their dream. They go and cure cancer or some shit. Like, you never even know.
That's a great example. You could inadvertently cause the cure of cancer. And all you got to do is write a trap song.
Yeah, in a roundabout way. I think Chief Keef probably already did cure cancer. I think we're going to see that in a couple of years. Somebody's going to be like, I came up with this cure playing Love Sosa over and over.
Yeah. Like, specifically Love Sosa. That would make sense, yeah, because that song is legendary.
Just hypes him up.
And something tells me that Chief Keef is on the cusp of something that we all just don't know. Like, he knows something that we don't know. Because if you pay attention to Chief Keef, you'll start seeing things that you didn't see in the universe. For real, this is true. If you just study Chief Keef for about like, if you give him a good day, you dive deep into his art, you'll be like, whoa, this guy is, like, the name is misleading. Like, it makes you think he's just going to be some dumb shit. And then, like, oh,
he's saying stuff, man. He's really talking. He's a prophet.
Yeah, he's a prophet. And he's going to cure cancer.
Yes, maybe.
He will. He will. And that's, I think that's a great way we can wrap this one up. Yeah. But I do want to know if there's anything you want to leave with the people before we go.
Tropic Sesh. Check out Tropic Sesh next weekend. I got a lot more music coming out this year, hopefully. I'm just, kind of slow with it with school and shit. Check me out on SoundCloud stuff. If you like my stuff, send me a message about it. Let me know, I'm always down to work with people. Always down to check anything out that anybody wants to send me.
It's true. It's true. I got a song that I made with this man about a year ago that's been sitting in my vault, and I'm sure he's wondering where it's at. Yeah. And it's there. It's there. It's coming. It is a beautiful remix to a DaBaby song, which probably would have been a little bit more culturally appropriate if I would have dropped it on time.
Before, yeah. Might have to just, start something new at this point, I feel.
Damn it, DaBaby. Yeah, I didn't think about that till just now.
Yeah, he kind of shot himself in the foot. I mean, I guess in a sense, he's still getting booked on, like, tons of shit, so.
Yeah. I'll leave it up to your jurisdiction if I drop that song or not. I'm down. It's a great remix.
We'll figure it out.
I know your verse starts with like, name is Alley Kit Kat and you cannot break me off.
Oh, shit. Yeah, see, I don't even remember writing that. Like, I would probably have to hear that to, like, remember that. Just because, like, for a period, I was making so much stuff. But, like, that sounds cool. That's a good line.
It's a dope-ass verse.
Thank you.
Alley Kit Kat. It's a dope line.
I'm the wafer man.
Yes, you are, my friend. Tropic Sesh 3. Is there anybody you want to shout out to? Anybody these people should go check out?
I would say check out Peppa Jack. He got an album 222 coming out this month. Obviously check out Gabe Sinclair, Danny Osborne, Death Plus. Shit, who else? Perfume. I want to shout out Perfume. And just because I'm from Michigan, I will tell everybody until I die to go listen to Bones. And I would just always recommend that shit.
Bones, and that's the one that you drove 20 hours for, ain't it?
Bones, no. I've seen Bones a couple times. Perfume was who I drove so far for. They're like different band.
Man, you like people with cool one-word names.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of interesting. A lot of monikers out there.
That explains Alley.
I guess, yeah.
It just fits in with all of them. Bones, Allie.
Blowing my mind.
Yeah, Ruse. Yo, we need to, like, make this a thing. Like, everybody just make an obscure... Chair?
Yeah.
Where the fuck is Chair? I want to see a rapper named Chair. Like, we need to get more and more obscure.
No, I was saying Cher, like Sonny and Cher from back in the day, bro.
You looked at what I was sitting in and just went, Chair. Like,
I love Lamp.
yeah, I love Lamp. Isn't that an actual artist? Is that a person?
No, it's from Ron Burgundy. When the motherfucker's like, I love Lamp. Like,
yo, that's a great band name, though. Yo, somebody take I Love Lamp before somebody trademarks that shit.
That's my next album. Nobody take that shit.
Yeah, I Love Lamp. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, it's like one of those references too. It's like referencing SpongeBob. Like only the cool kids get it, so it's fun.
I have made so many fucking songs with SpongeBob references. I don't know if I'll ever make one again. That was such a Squid Squad thing. We would make so many just because it's underwater, you know? And like the whole show is underwater. They got hella underwater samples, but so many SpongeBob references. I feel like I'm a little burned out on it, y'all.
You can't be. There's no way. One of these days, Dirty Dan's going to fit right in your rhyme scheme.
It'll come back, and I'll have to
it.
use it. I won't be able to not. Yeah, that is true.
That's what's going to happen. You'll be like, God damn it. And SpongeBob will return. Yeah, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy will just fit right into the rhyme scheme. It'll make perfect sense. It'll be like irresistible to you. That's how it's gonna go. There's no way you can avoid it.
If somebody can say Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy and it'll rhyme that whole line with something else, I would probably give them $5. I'd be like, that shit is crazy.
You're right, because that's like a fucking like 6-7 syllable scheme right there, and we're talking like ridiculous. Like Barnacle, I don't even know if there's a word that rhymes with that.
Yeah,
shit.
I don't know.
Ooh. Okay, so we're leaving with that then. That's our challenge for you kids at home. Write a rap, including Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, and that has to rhyme all the way through. I don't want to see no silly half schemes. No, you have to rhyme each syllable up in that.
No,
I want to hear something
stepping.
crazy. I want to hear some like Eminem subliminal in your swimming pool type shit, okay? That's what I want. All right, and then I think we did it. Thank you guys so much for being here. My chickens, my roosters. You're in the coop troop and you're the king of the coop or the queen of the coop or whatever the frick you are, and we're happy to have you. I love all of you. You guys are the best. You're my roosters, my chickens. You got a name for your fans? My alley cats.
Yeah, I got it. My cats, bro.
My cats. That's good,
It's
though.
for all the cats out there.
For all my cats out there, thanks for being here, man.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you guys so much. I will see you soon. This has been a fantastic episode of Ruse Radio, clocking out.